the abuse, the sleep deprivation, the drug abuse, the beatings, you just would do things where you would just like make me... I'm never going to stop talking.
Good.
And I hope you're watching this right now, mate, because you are never going to silence me. I still see like the comments sometimes of being like, oh, you knew what you were doing.
No,
you can make a decision.
No. Fuck those people. That was not your mistake.
I know,
That's called grooming.
I don't know if you remember, but Page 3, like, they used to have a weird thing where they'd be like, girls, just as they turn 16
yes, I do
years
remember
old.
that, yeah.
And Lindsay Dawn McKenzie was one of the girls.
Yeah, I remember her well.
How old were they before they took them pictures?
Well, wasn't Katie Price like 13?
Babe,
sitting
this
in
is
the
what I'm
modelling
saying.
chair? Yeah.
We've got to the point of like OnlyFans. There was a countdown to this one girl, this child influencer, and the men, they were like, yeah, I've been waiting for this since she was 11 years old. The hypersexualization of kids, mate, like it's blowing my mind. Like, I don't want to be in any limelight whatsoever. I just want to be a voice of reason. This can also be reversed if we actually step up and say, yo, like, what are we going to do to make change? Whenever I talk about the adult industry, predominantly men, I will get attacked from.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they'll usually say things like, oh, she's washed up now, so she's... I'm like, mate, you do know that grannies get paid the most in that industry about being washed up. I'm like, mate, you think Wayne Rooney's the only one that's paying for a granny? I don't think so, honey. That's not how it works.
Hi, and welcome to The New Mind. Now, before we go into today's episode, I just want to ask you a big favour. Please subscribe because it really supports the channel to grow and it allows me to continue to get amazing guests and to share these incredible life stories with you. The truth is, I learn something from every single guest and I know you will too. So hit that subscribe button and make me very, very happy. Thank you so much for supporting me. I appreciate you all. Now enjoy the episode. So welcome, Sam.
Hello, Ella.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I feel like really grateful, like, and honoured to be on your platform.
Oh God, I've said to you 10 minutes ago, I've followed you for a long time. I was hesitant to reach out because the story is quite horrific
And intense.
And I know when I've seen you tell the story before, it's been really overwhelming for you. I know you've done lots of work on yourself, but equally, I think these stories are so difficult to get across so that both the story is heard, but the person feels safe. So I've really taken my time to reach out and make sure that you're in a good place. And I didn't want to trigger you. So I know that this is painful and I know it might trigger others listening.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to say. We need to put the trigger on.
We do, because it's a heavy, heavy story. Yeah. But what I really admire about you before we go and look into your life is that however painful it's been for you to tell it, your mission and your determination and your purpose is so strong. It's so grounded in love and wanting to see change for the next generation and to support the women and the boys and the girls that are actually going through this now, because they are.
They are, babe, like 100%. And I think that's all I want is for me to tell my story so that even if I could stop one person making the same mistakes and going down the road that I did, at least then there's that education and awareness around it so that the young people of today can be more aware of the dangers and the perpetrators that live among us.
Yeah. And it's not to scare.
No, it's not fear-mongering.
No.
God, that's not what I want to do.
No, because I think some people hear they'll see the title of the episode, they'll hear my introduction and they might think, oh, this is too scary. But actually, the way that we'll break it down, I think this is really important to say, is yes, there's got to be layers of truth in it. And so the facts need to be heard. But actually, it's also to say this is what we're doing and this is what you can do too.
Yes. And how we can make change, systematical change for the future generations, because, the system is really set up for us to fail and most of all for young people. And I think the young people of today are even more vulnerable with the likes of the influence that they have and also with the social media and also the pushing. I mean, I think we had Grand Theft Auto when we was growing up and a bit of Eminem and that, but the music that's pushed now, like the way that there's certain people in the limelight of the media that are pushing a certain narrative, and then just the hypersexualization of kids, mate, like it's blowing my mind. Like sometimes I try not to get angry because I think what's that going to do? It's going to consume me and I'm not going to focus on the change. But there is a lot that we've got to do. There's
a lot. And we've got to keep talking about it. And I think we've got to keep referencing and I'm not referencing the likes of Bonnie Blue, aka Tia.
Yeah, we have to touch on it though.
Yeah, we have
Would
to,
you?
and the likes of Andrew Tate and the good, the bad, and the ugly. Essentially, we have to go there because they are, whether we like it or not, influencing our children.
Yeah, they're having a massive impact on these kids. And like, I'm not saying that like I want to be in like any, I don't want to be in any limelight whatsoever. I just want to be a voice of reason for people, to make them see that, listen, like I've been, I mean, I hadn't done the 1,000-man training that, like, but I have been Bonnie Blue, like in the sense of like I have embodied an alias just like she did. So I know really how not only dangerous this narrative is, but how lost this lady is in the whole mix of it all. And I think she's gone, babe. Like, I don't know if there's any coming back from that. Like, I pray over her. Like, I pray over the situation. But again, it's just scary because the young people of today, I didn't have that kind of influence.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, there were certain things that were coming out, but I don't remember having so much easy access to adult content the way that there what is now.
It's insane.
Babe, like there's kids like that are abusing other kids and watching adult content.
I know.
Like this is a very dangerous place, and obviously like just how we are in the world, and like, you know, like with the oceans and the plastic and all this, like this can also be reversed if we actually step up and say, yo, like, what are we going to do to make change? Like, because if we keep spiraling down this path, like the kids of today, like are going to be so confused, have the worst mental health, are going to be doing sexual things that they shouldn't, you know. And I just think like, why can't we just preserve their innocence more, you know? Like, I feel more of a kid now than I did back in the day because of the way
Me too.
I've just embodied my childhood now. Like, I feel like a lot of it was stripped away from me because of being around certain people. But like, now I'm just like, I really feel like I'm on a mission. But yeah, like I said, babe, like I had to take some time out with my story, and I think it's been nearly 3 years now, so
it's a big deal for you to do this, isn't it? That's why I'm so grateful to you.
I feel like I'm in like the safest space I've ever been in regards to a podcast, because before I've done podcasts, I'm just gonna say the space just wasn't as safe. Like, people have their own intentions with certain things, and I'm still grateful for everyone that helped me to get my voice out. I just think that the space I'm in now, like, I had to be with someone like you, because I had to be with someone who would care about the situation, not ask me really weird questions. I've been asked so many weird questions in my interviews by men. And some of it, I think I look at my interviews now and I look back and I'm just like, what the hell? Like, why did you even ask that question? That's a bit weird. Do you know what I mean? So I think now we can unpack the story and have it from a more healed perspective, which is hopefully me articulating it a bit better, and hopefully the message getting out as far and wide as it possibly can again, and hopefully resurfacing this mug and this face. People are like, here again. I'll be like, hello.
No, you are a queen. For a lot of us women, like, you might call it a mug. We call it the face the crown sits on. Because
love it, babe.
No, it's true, because honestly, the passion behind your heart and your message is so important right now, more so than 3 years ago, I think.
I think so as well, babe. I really do think so, because I don't think that things were getting as toxic as they are now.
I think it's really superseded. Since COVID, it's got worse and worse and worse, because that time it shut us all down, and people only really had their screens and their devices as entertainment. There was nothing else to do. So we saw an upsurge in use of things like porn or just really graphic material.
And the whole clickbait kind of thing. Like, and that was, I think a lot of stuff with me was sort of derived around that. And that's when I was like, do you know what, Sam, when you go back this time, like, wear your heart on your sleeve and say everything as it is. And just know that this one person that you're with this time isn't about the clickbait.
Correct.
So I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I know I told you I was a bit anxious, but again, I think any trauma survivor understands that when you're going to unpack your story again and you're just going to like go into that space, because talking about it, like, it's still like, I've done healing, but it still takes me back there.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when I see his face, or like, you know, I think about the girl that groomed me and stuff, I'm just like, I can still like feel my emotions taking over me. So I'm trying to make sure that when we talk about these things, that I can just make sure that I hit all the points and not stray away, because sometimes my ADHD can be like, oh, go round in circles.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's easy to do because your story's layered.
There's a lot of things to it, exactly. Yeah. So,
but I don't want you to feel pressured to try and stay in a straight line, because I know, as well as you know, you do, that trying to stay in a straight line with a story that's so complex is actually the pressure that makes you forget what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're trying to be articulate rather than honest sometimes when you're on these things.
And I never think about what I'm saying. That's probably my problem sometimes. I'm never thinking about what I'm saying. It just comes out pure northern blood, like just says it as it is, Dave. Like,
that's why I love it.
I think now, I think with a lot of my interviews, like people could see I was just authentic. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like I couldn't even, I don't even prep before I come, because I don't like to even think about the story itself, like in that sense. Do you know what I mean? So I know my timeline just because of years of therapy. Like it's still happening now.
It's your timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
that's so it's crazy as well. I don't know if you ever get it, but so obviously, like I still to this day, like, I think I must trigger some people, because there's still some people who will attack my story, and I'm just like, mate, like, I think you're focusing on the wrong people here.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
You should be looking at the adult industry. You should be looking at my perpetrator who is walking the streets right now. I really don't think you should be trying to pick holes in my story.
I love it when people do that. I just think, you assholes. Like, what the hell is wrong with you when you start looking at somebody that's clearly gone through a shitload of trauma and you start trying to pick holes in them? It's just, I think those people have had their own aggressor in some way, shape, or form, and they are projecting that aggressor onto you.
That's why whenever I talk about the adult industry, predominantly men, I will get attacked from. Yeah. And it's funny because they'll usually say things like, oh, she's washed up now, so she's... I'm like, mate, you do know that grannies get paid the most in that industry about being washed up. I'm like, mate, you think Wayne Rooney's the only one that's paying for a granny? I don't think so, honey. That's not how it works. Like, when I used to work on the stations, grab a granny was always the one who would make the most money, because the guys would feel like, I guess, you know, she's not aesthetics up to the max. So
she's not out of reach.
Yeah, exactly. So they were on that phone, mate, paying their $3.99. And, you know, like I said, there's no drying up in the industry, because guys, and this is another thing I want to touch on, is the fact of how this is neurologically affecting people to actually push outside of their zones of what they would usually probably want sexually. And they don't realise this is what the porn industry is about. Yeah. Pushing consistently, so that you're always going out of your boundaries, basically.
Well, and there's so many neurological elements to that.
Yeah, babe.
Which we will, as you're telling the story, there may be times when I, not interrupt, but
where
I layer in the sort of neurological effects.
I think we need to unpack that part of it.
Yeah, we have to, because this is a psychological brainwashing that has a neurobiological effect.
It's neuroplasticity, babe. Like, you're having your own brain rewired by a very toxic industry.
Yes.
Like, and that's another thing. Again, so funny, I've been attacked from people in the industry. I'm like, you need to be careful, you know, because I might say your name like next time. So you need to seriously, because there's a lot of people, even in like the Sunday sport, like David O'Sullivan, mate, like, I can't wait for this guy to get actually exposed for who he is, because anything from, like, people just think, oh, maybe it's the porn industry. It's not. Like, from the glamour industry, like, to the Page 3. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but Page 3, like, they used to have a weird thing where they'd be like, girls just as they turn 16 years old.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
And Lindsay Dawn McKenzie was one of the girls that was on there.
Yeah.
And I've worked with her, and she's an amazing lady. Yeah. So what you tell me, when they were 16 and they were getting them pictures, how old were they before they took them pictures?
Well, wasn't Katie Price like 13 when she was sitting in the modelling chair? Yeah.
These girls, and obviously, like, now, because we've got to the point of like OnlyFans and stuff like that, there was a countdown to this one girl, this child influencer of her. Again, her mom is an enabler. She basically ended up, I don't want to say a name because I don't want people to, I don't want to anyone in case it's perpetrators, because they also know. And basically she was a child influencer, and she had this big thing about getting OnlyFans when she was 18, and she did this live, and they were like, so for, you know, she was like proper counting it down. I think she made like over 2 million in the first 24 hours, and they basically were, for one, I was thinking, who's taking the pictures, because she was 17, the same way that the Daily Sport, they were 15, because you can't take a photo on their 16th birthday and launch it. It's before. So what, we're taking pictures of minors now? All right.
It's mind-blowing.
But babe, the worst thing about it was, in the comments, the men, they were turning around, they were like, yeah, I've been waiting for this since she was 11 years old. And that's when I was like, we are sick now. We are so sick, babe. Like,
because they see other people saying it publicly.
Exactly.
So they go, like, well, it's all right because he said it too.
It's here. It's like a common thing now. And I'm just like, and again, that's why, like, with the whole teen element of the porn industry, and again, we're going to touch on the whole, like, I don't like to call it Pornhub because it's Trafficking Hub, and how they were making so much money off the back of child exploitation,
which is essentially what you experienced yourself.
Yeah, babe. Yeah, so this is the thing. So yeah, I think before we go, because I could talk to you all day about all of the industries that I've been in.
Do you know what? This is where I waited for you, because I knew that you would be so important and integral in conversations once you were ready. And again, I'd seen some clips of the podcast you've been on, and it was too raw for me. I would have happily have reached out at that point, but I thought, I know what you're doing, and I know where you're going, and I want to get you when you're there.
Yeah, babe.
Because your voice is so important.
I feel like I'm really like in a different space now, like headspace, and I think my mission, you know, people who have followed me, because obviously I did start speaking in lockdown, and that was for a reason as well.
Yeah.
When my perpetrator got out of prison, and I nearly had a mental breakdown, but
understandably.
Like, yeah, but again, I went into it, and I think a lot of the interviews that I did before, that I was so still like, I some of them I can't watch back, because I can see how I'm so still stuck in my trauma, which I still will be a little bit now, but I don't think it's anywhere to the extent that it was.
And we don't want to exploit the trauma today.
No, I know, babe, and that's another thing. Like, I know trust me, I know my story is important. I really do, and I do want to expose a lot about the stuff I'm going to talk about, but it's a different time now.
And we have to keep you safe. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Emotionally, psychologically, and physically, because these topics, like you say, they enrage a lot of people for the wrong reasons, the perpetrators or the likes of the perpetrators. So I want to make sure that you're safe, and that I don't do anything that puts you in any form of danger in any shape or form.
No, babe. We need more podcasters like you.
Yeah.
Like, we really do. Like, that are just trauma informed, first of all.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
It really matters.
And have actually got some therapy background in themselves. Yeah. And, you know, you're a survivor as well yourself, babe, which, credit where it's due, because for someone to have experienced what you have, and to sit in that chair right now and hear everyone else's pain and give them that safe space, like, honestly, like, I so much admiration, babe, for it. Like, it actually gets me emotional, because I think sometimes, like, it is actually, like, really hard to hold space for someone with this kind of stuff we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'll talk about, like, my upbringing and, like, my mum and dad and stuff. And I think, yeah, that in itself, it was confusing, because, like, my upbringing, me and my siblings, like, we were loved, like, without a doubt, we had a lot of love, but my mum and dad, like, their relationship was really toxic. It was domestic. And me being the older child, obviously I'm born in November, so I'm obviously a Valentine's baby. Wasn't planned. I love it. We feel the most, you know. But basically, like, my dad is a good person, you know, and my mum is a good woman, but I just think the toxicity levels of them being together, it was a very disruptive household, you know, and I don't think I had solid ground where I had, I guess, like, growing up, everyone thinks they're meant to have a mum and dad, a picketed fence, you know what I mean? Everything's meant to be normal and stuff. and it's not anyway, like that doesn't like actually exist. I think everyone's family is a bit dysfunctional
for sure,
in one way or another.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think my mum and dad as well, like I don't want to talk too much on their experience because it's not mine to tell, but they had a very dysfunctional upbringing themselves, and let's just say they didn't pass that on to me and my siblings, which I'm so grateful for. But the environment in itself, because obviously I was looking after my young sibling, like my mum and dad broke up, it was always a case of like them fighting, and you know, it's just even now I don't think they really like each other, which I can understand with the circumstances and stuff. But I guess me and my siblings ended up being used as weapons.
Yeah.
You know, like dragging us here, we're gonna have custody and I'm gonna get custody, and my mum, bless her, she didn't have anywhere to live, so my dad ended up getting custody of us, and he was a great dad. But then my mum ended up like badgering about my dad all the time, like and I had to hear about some awful things that he'd done to her, and obviously like it's not nice, you know, to hear these things. And I think as a kid, that's when I was like being told, oh, you have to, because my dad, bless him, he was going back to education, he wanted to like become he wanted to work in the child services because of his own upbringing, and he is an amazing support worker now for young people. And he's another reason I'm so inspired, because he changed his life around. So I think if I didn't see my mum and dad change their lives around, I don't think that I would have been able to do what I've done today.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So as dysfunctional as they was, they had parts of them that was very empowering. But again, like I was like a 12, 13-year-old being left with my sibling, my younger siblings, like, and I was I guess I became a bit of a rebel. I didn't have the like, I was given too much responsibility, I think, as a young person, and I wasn't given the discipline that I should have been given. Like, I'm not saying I wanted to be an army sergeant, like, sir, yes, sir, but mate, honestly, like, I needed to be told, stop doing that a few times. Do you know what I mean? Like, ground. But because they were trying to build their own life, like, because my mum didn't have anywhere to live, my dad had been left with arrears from the house. They had their own stuff they was dealing with, and
they were distracted.
Single parents, you know, babe. Like, it's hard. Yeah. Like, I admiration to every single parent out there, because, like, no one tells you about what jobs, like, education. You know, how are you even meant to get forward, mate? Like,
it's
you know,
so hard. And I think this is the thing about society as well, just to sort of think about the bigger picture, where there's lots of people that are struggling to keep their relationships together because systemically there's not the support for relationships and for families. And
it takes a tribe, doesn't it?
It does.
And we don't have the tribe anymore.
Yeah, that's so true. So that community aspect, the systems in place to support the community, without that, and that was starting to deteriorate back then. It wasn't as bad as it is now, but essentially if the education isn't there, if the community support isn't there, if the finances aren't there, all those different things, the child is the one that ultimately suffers. Yeah, and that's where the dysfunction comes in, and then it's like it's led on and on and on with the whole situation. And I think so like from primary school to secondary school, I was so confused, hormones, and then obviously like I was like one of the only black kids in my school, like only mixed race kids, and that was a bit like interesting, because obviously I was getting called a packy and a black bitch sometimes, like by people, and it was crazy. Like I was like literally like, what the hell is going on, you know? Like, and I was only young, so I guess I had that aspect. And then, like, you have all these hormones, and then, like, you're going from transitioning from primary school to secondary school, and I didn't have a family unit around me at that time. Yeah. So I just went, hey, well, babe, like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I pray every day my kid has my confidence, but not my cockiness, because when I was a kid, like when I was a kid, I honestly, like, I was a ballsy little kid, yeah. Like, I was starting riots in schools because we wanted no more blazers, but I was literally like a political activist from the start. I was the president of school, but then I also used to do things like, we basically found out there was I thought
there was this competition where if we collected Walker's crisp packets and it weighed the weight of a wheelchair, this young girl would get a wheelchair. Obviously, there was no internet back then, so it was like Chinese whispers. So I heard it and I passed it all around the school, got all the kids like collecting, like, so as naughty as I was, like I was doing other things. Yeah. And I always used to like bully the bullies. Like I was in the popular crew, but I was also like my best mates were like not the popular kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was also one of the lads. So in secondary school, then I started hanging about with boys.
Yeah.
And this is another thing, because of not having that family unit and like the strong family unit, I started getting sexual way before I should have.
Yeah.
And obviously we had the internet, but it wasn't as readily available as it is now. But I still remember in school being shown bestiality content.
Bloody hell.
At school.
How old are you now?
Me, I'm 36.
36. So that's 10 years, because there's 10 years between us.
Oh, wow.
But let me tell you, I love that response. I tell everybody for that reason. But no, but it's interesting because that 10 years in terms of technology, like 10 years before, we would never have seen that.
I know, it was all Emmanuel and stuff and like, you know, top shelf.
Porn, yeah.
And in a sense, obviously I still don't agree with the adulting, but in a sense that's a lot nicer than the stuff.
It's a lot easier to digest for their little brains.
And it's a lot more natural, babe.
Yes,
but even still, like, kids and adult content do not mix. And this is what we was talking about before. The hypersexualization of kids started in my generation.
Yeah, it did, you're right.
And, you know, I'm a big Spice Girls fan, but, you know, even some of the songs growing up and listening to some of the lyrics and, you know, when to become one, like, I mean, that was soft. Because then Eminem coming in is like, yes, Kim, I'm going to slit your throat and all this stuff. And then I was
turned a corner.
Mate, it turned a corner mad, like, and I think that's, again, like, coming back to today, like, why the kids are so erratic. Because, like, what you've got Sexy Red bringing out a lip gloss called Gonorrhea. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's no chill no more.
No, there's actually no line at all, is there?
And kids are also being exploited with all the influencer industry because of how much money they're making.
Of course.
I don't know if you've seen that thing on Netflix where it's called Kid Influence, and the mum's sending dirty knickers of the kids to the fans.
I have not seen that.
So this is where we're at now, but this is still it's a snowball from where we've come, because you can see how if you do not put things in place, this is all spiraled from that place.
It has. I mean, look at what you're saying. You're at school watching bestiality, and
I don't know if anyone remembered. Like even my partner now, like she remembers the video that I'm on about, and that video sticks in your brain.
How do you ever release that from your mind?
Everyone knows, like, and the girl died. It was the girl, the horse. She died. Like, do you know what I mean?
I know the one you mean. I've never seen it. Thank God.
And then obviously, like the whole 2 girls, 1 cup thing, like that was starting to be heavily promoted in my adolescence years. And so I can understand how kids were getting sexually active, like, you know, and that's essentially what happened. Like, and yeah, it just, I guess from there, that's when I kind of was a bit more influenced by exterior people and exterior forces, because
you've become quite sexual. There's a lack of boundaries. There's a lack of discipline.
And my parents weren't there to, I guess, my protection shield. Yeah. It wasn't there. Like they were focusing on their own stuff. Exactly, babe, you know. So it was just a case of like navigating myself. And let's face it, like what 13, 14-year-old kid knows how to navigate anything?
And this is the thing. We know that there's your brain at that point, if you're 13 or 14.
It's not even developed.
It's not even, it's only been developing at the front, that logical brain.
Yeah, your prefrontal cortex.
Yeah, it's only, exactly, because I know you've been looking at this stuff.
Yeah, I love neuroscience.
It's so important because it's only been developing for 6-7 years. Yeah, so you're in the immature phase of logic at that age. There's no way that you can make decisions for yourself then.
Not logically anyway. No. Like and you can be very easily influenced. Yeah. And this is one of the biggest things I want to touch on, is that how child exploitation happens is because of how vulnerable children's brains are.
Because they can't be logical and analytical, not in a full sense.
No, they can't make decisions.
And you know this because you were that child.
Exactly. And that's why a lot of these guys I don't agree with them being like, I need a young girl. I'm like, what? Because she can't make her own decisions on me.
Because you can influence her and power over her.
Yeah, exactly. And they can go on about it being about trauma and all this. And it's like, well, that's BS, because a lot of people have been through child trauma. So what are you on about? Like, you're not going to get away from that anyway. Like, so yeah, I just think with the whole narrative of pushing, of wanting a young person, whether it's a male or a female, by the way, because there is women perpetrators too.
I know, and we've got to have a little chat about that, because that's the last piece of the puzzle that people talk about. People always think it's men, but there are some crazy psychotic women out there too.
And I always talk about that, because like as I was growing up in school, and I was going from school to college, like I was I was so naughty. I was always wagging school. I got into smoking a bit of weed and that, hanging about with older boys, like I said, being more sexually active. And I've never shared this, but like there was parts when I was like young where older boys did take advantage of me when I was drunk and paralytic. And I guess the group of boys that I used to hang about with maybe weren't as much as my friends as what they thought they were, as I thought they were.
You're right.
Because there was a lot of, when we would get drunk, because God knows how... This is the thing as well. I don't know how I ended up in someone's house. Yeah, some random person's house. Got a group of kids in the house. All of us drinking. Do you know what I mean? And luckily nothing happened to me there. But I can guarantee you something did happen to someone out of our
you're
group.
Right.
What man is going... I remember it was a man and a woman. They used to go into the shop for us, get us all a drink, cider, Lambrini and all that. Babe, they were full grown adults, yeah, in Chadderton. Like, literally, we used to go there. We used to go to their house. We used to drink, and so, or sometimes we'd go to our friends. Like, but this was the thing, like, my parents were never home. So, like, sometimes I'd have boys round, but it would never be the extent of, like, drinking. But we used to go around to some of our friends' houses and their parents were home and we'd be drinking. And I'm just thinking, that's wild, mate. That's absolutely wild. But I guess that even they may come from a generation where you used to give drink to younger kids.
It could be that. But I always think, because, again, I've got a daughter, and I think I remember even when, not that long ago, so she'd have friends and their mum would give them alcohol. They'd be like 12 and 13.
Yeah, babe, I know.
And I'd be like, you're not having alcohol. I mean, she had her first drink, I think, behind my back at 16.
Like they do.
But now, because I've always said to her, you have to tell the truth.
Yeah, of course.
And the truth will never get you in trouble, because I can keep you safe. Mm-hmm. If you lie to me, you're not safe. That's my only problem with it.
I love that. Because then she's not going to keep anything from you.
Correct.
And she won't feel scared most
Correct.
of all.
So now, I mean, she's almost 18. She has a little drink every now and then, but she's sensible with it.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't get you never have to worry about that with her, because she's got the safety container, which is exactly what you're talking about. If you don't have the container of safety and those strong core values, not being preached at you, but being spoken, with your parents, if you don't have those core values explained, and you feel like you're being shouted at or judged, this is the problem with a lot of parents. They come down too heavy.
Yeah.
And they're not actually guiding,
mentoring.
There's
a difference in there between guiding and parenting, for sure.
Yeah, there is. And I think in your case, if you're sort of getting too much access to alcohol, to drugs, weed, to pornography, even at that age, to older boys, and there's no one guiding you and placing that. And I'm not, again, they had their own problems, but essentially it wasn't there.
Yeah, it wasn't, and that's what I mean. I'm excuse me, I'm really not here to badmouth my parents, because they're good people. Yeah, I just think I have learned what not to do,
of course,
from them, which is. I've also learned a lot of what to do.
Of course, there's good and bad in everything.
Yeah. But I think, I hate to say it, but there is more that I've learned of what not to do that I'm going to not do with my kids. Because I'm like, I remember when that was happening, and I'm like, that is something that I need to stop the cycle at me.
Because you're a cycle breaker.
I'm trying.
You are. You're a cycle breaker.
I do try my best, babe, like, literally. But I do think my parents were as well, because, like I said, they had a horrific childhood.
So they did what they could with what they knew.
They were doing their best. Yeah. They were doing their best with what they had. And even still, like, I know I didn't have the most conventional upbringing, and it was dysfunctional. But I stand by my word that my mum and dad are not bad people.
Yeah, they were doing their best.
And they were broken still. Yeah. Like, I still think they're still a bit broken now, because maybe they've not done the work, like.
And also with what's happened in your life, I'm sure there's some level of shame and guilt for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big situation about how like this trauma can affect like just everyone who's like a part of you.
Oh, it's an ecosystem
your extended
thing. Yeah,
your extended part of you. And yeah, I think this is why my story affects a lot of listeners, because in a way we're all an extension of each other as survivors,
We are.
And my pain is no different to anyone else's. So from school, I ended up, being a little rebel. And then I went to Oldham sixth form, and I studied psychology, sociology, philosophy, and citizenship.
Wow.
And I love them all still now. And I really want to go back to education. And I remember I worked at Home Bargains for minimum wage. I was getting my EMA. I used to get an EMA back in the day. Oh my God. It's so funny. I used to get my EMA and I used to go and spend it on weed.
Good use of the money.
I swear to God. But like the thing was, this is another thing I want to touch on, just going back to my childhood really quickly, is that I used to have a friend and we were like 14 and 15 and he was selling weed. And I want people to understand that like there's a criminal exploitation, like county lines and stuff that is massive within society now. Yeah. Who was selling my 14-year-old friend ounces of weed, and what happened if my 14-year-old friend could not sell that weed? Yeah. What are you going to do to my 14-year-old friend? And that's what people need to realise now.
We've got to protect them.
Yeah, the gangs, they're out there, babe. Like, and who they come for are people like me, from the dysfunctional families, from the broken homes, the easiest ones to impact on. Like, you know what I mean? It's so easy to influence someone that doesn't have that safety net around them. So I think from college, that's where I was. Like, so I was 16, I left school. When I left school, I got introduced to this lady, and that she was from my school friends. And while I was at college, like studying and at Home Bargains, I met this lady, and her name was Becky, and she was a few years older than me, but considerably older. And she introduced herself as a stripper. And I didn't know what one of them was. Like, as sexually active as I was, I didn't know about that industry.
Because you were still young.
Yeah, I was still a babe. What, 16? I mean, I'm pretty proud of myself not knowing what stripping is when I was 16. Like, even back then, like, but at the same time, like, I was in that era, I guess, of being intrigued by things. Like, and I was really susceptible as well, because again, still the home was still dysfunctional, and I was looking for someone, I guess, to guide me through life, and this lady found me, and that's what we need to speak about, is that like all perpetrators are not just male.
That's right.
And this lady, I guess, was, you know, she was my best friend. She'd introduced me to this world that I never knew about, which was like cocaine, champagne, armed robbers. I mean, I didn't know about people like this. In our house, like I guess we was on the poverty spectrum, because we had like screwdrivers as a handle. We didn't have carpet. My dad always made sure we had food. But yeah, we was wearing cat dead pants to school with pride, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we was just like, we was that family. But we had the love. We just didn't have the finances. And I guess growing up around that, I really wanted that.
Of course.
You know? So when I met this girl and she was showing me this life, I guess I got roped in, like, and I people say they don't have regrets, but like, I guess she was my first, well, not my first regret. My first regret would have been hanging about with the boys who bloody took advantage of me and abused me. But at the same time, I think she is probably one of my biggest mistakes, is calling her a friend and thinking that she cared about me.
That was her mistake, not yours.
Yeah, I mean...
Just so you know, because she groomed you.
Well, this is the thing.
And so, you know, you're vulnerable. Your brain isn't able to logicalise or rationalise.
I didn't even know what grooming was, babe.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean?
So if you're that vulnerable and you're kind of looking at a world of, you know, I haven't got much. There's dysfunction at home. Yes, there's love, but this looks quite glamorous and exciting.
Yeah. Oh, mate, it was. That's exactly the word. So it's not
your mistake. You weren't an adult making a conscious decision. You were a child being groomed. It's not your mistake.
I know, but I think maybe some of like people have got in my head with that, because like, I don't know why it is, but people like to always blame me on that. Like,
Yeah,
not
but it's not
everyone
your
does.
fault.
But I mean, I still see like the comments sometimes of being like, oh, you know, you knew what you were doing.
No,
You can make a decision.
Fuck
Like,
those people. That was not your mistake.
I know,
That's
oh,
called grooming.
I know,
It's
babe, and
not
that
your
obviously all the
mistake.
work I do now, like I know what that is, and I know what the signs are, and everything that she was doing, from introducing me to the friends, you know, showing me this lifestyle, even like dancing for me and my friends. Like, imagine like we're 15, 16 and we've got this naked lady, like this adult lady, like dancing for us. Like we were all like giggling and that, like, do you know what I mean? We were like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, because it's new, it's weird, it's uncomfortable, it's
Yeah,
exciting.
but it's also your friend, and it's a bit like, oh,
yeah,
like,
and you're
what?
trying to impress as well, because what happens then is that whole conformity thing.
Yeah, we're not
She's
trying to
my
be the odd one out.
Yeah.
Like,
So
we're
one person giggles nervously and the other one giggles and everyone's giggling and it looks like fun.
yeah, and it's not fun.
No.
Like, but what happened was my other couple of mates dispersed, and I ended up staying with this lady. So when I've stayed with this lady then, and we've been introduced to this kind of lifestyle, Fast and Furious and all this, obviously I didn't realise that she was kind of showing me a life that could be accustomed to by money. And then obviously I was always staying at her house, so I was isolated. I wasn't around people.
This is how it starts to happen.
This is how it all works, babe.
Yeah.
Like, this is how perpetrators work in general.
Yeah.
And how domestic violence happens, because first they befriend you, then they obviously isolate you, and then they break you down mentally,
Yeah.
and then they can get you to do whatever they can physically.
Yeah.
Because your brain is weak. That's how slavery worked. You know what I mean? You beat the big slave,
Yeah.
you make everyone scared, and then everyone's like, oh my God, yeah. And they fall into the place where you want. And I remember
They're complicit and compliant because they're broken.
Exactly, because slowly but surely they've been chipping away, and
Yeah.
this is the situation I was in, but I just didn't realise. And the worst thing was that I thought she was my best friend. And now I look back and I think about all the narcissistic traits that she had and the controlling traits that she had. And, you know, just making us, again, like I'm a 17-year-old thinking that it's cool to drive topless down the road because I'm with my best mate and she's doing the same.
Yeah.
And then that's when I got introduced to the adult industry as a minor. So obviously, like, anyone who doesn't understand, anyone under the age of 18, it's not prostitution, it's exploitation.
Yeah.
Because you aren't of age. And I just remember the conversation just being like, oh, you're not going to judge me. You're my best friend. I want to tell you about what I do. And, you know, essentially making out that it would be cool if we did it together. Obviously, I'm thinking, yeah, okay. And then she also mentioned about the money.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I'm working at Home Bargains, $6.50 an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm with my best friend. What can go wrong? So then this lady makes me think it's normal to have unprotected sex with men for money at 17 years old. And it's sad because I remember taking them punters back to my dad's house, you know, like, and this is what's crazy. Like, I was getting worked through this girl, and I don't even know. Sometimes I'm like now thinking in my head, was there ever a point where she took me somewhere and did she actually get any money for? Or because when we was going places, we were sexually active with people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it was all these thoughts now go through my head, obviously, but more so like, I just want anyone to listen who's listening now just to kind of remember when they were like 16, 17.
Oh my God, we knew nothing.
I was so heavily influenced, you know, and I just obviously, like, I've done so much work with little Sam because little Sam, like, she didn't know no better. Like, and sometimes I just have to hug her and be like, it's okay because, like, you just didn't know, babe. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
and let me make this clear, just so that you can take a breath, okay? I've got a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you now, I look at her, she's a baby.
I know,
She's
babe.
a baby and she's quite well grounded and she's quite sensible.
And she might not even look like a baby yet, but
she actually does. She's still
thank
looks
God.
really young. Yeah, which I say that. Kids. Yeah, exactly. And she's beautiful and she's obviously a woman nearly.
Yeah.
She is 17 and she does look young. And when she's dressed up, I think she always looks older in pictures than she does in real life. But I just see the baby in her, and there is no way that she would be able. In fact, I don't know what would happen to her if she was introduced to people like that. Because the thing is, until you're in it, and I know myself, trust me, I know, when I was that age, because of what had already gone on in my life, I did not see red flags in people.
Oh my God,
the boundaries
never.
were severely lacking. And it wasn't just because of that. I think it's because you are that age. And that's why you need the support of your community, your family, your friends. And I think for girls that, I mean, I've got ADHD as well, but the girls that, I mean, I argue that mine is actually complex PTSD that is in the framework of ADHD.
Wow.
And I would argue that actually Gabor Mate's work is all about this, that all ADHD is trauma anyway, whether it's epigenetic markers from before or whether it's your own lived experience or whether it's in the womb, it's trauma.
So true.
Yeah. So on that note, when you're dealing with a neurodiverse brain, boundaries are an issue anyway, because it's the impulse control, it's the lack of organisation at the front in the executive part of the brain, the frontal lobe, which isn't developed until 25. So all those things, and most kids, forget about the severity of your story for a minute, most teenagers are absolute knobheads.
Oh, we think we know everything. We're like, fuck off you, I'm going to do whatever I want. And I think that was, again, part of me as well. I was like, fuck off, I'm going to do whatever I want. Like, and because I was a bit rebelistic already and naughty, and this was another thing as well, this girl introduced me to cocaine.
Yeah, which changes the game.
Oh, and that was one of the biggest things, even till like this day, that has been one of my biggest, like, it was my kryptonite, because again, we're searching for dopamine, aren't we? So as soon as I had that, and again, I was a minor. Yeah. And that's another thing, like, I think to myself, like, what woman in the right mind is going to give a 17-year-old a line of coke?
A predator.
I know, babe. And that's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm just like, no way. Like, is that how you roll? Like,
do you think it would cross my mind as an adult to give a child or even a young person? Look, forget it.
Even someone who's never took it before.
Correct, I wouldn't give it to anyone.
I know, exactly.
It's not happening because I'm not a predator.
I hear you.
And I'm not somebody without a moral compass.
I know, babe. I know. This is so obviously now when I can look back, it makes sense. Like about like the understanding of why certain aspects were brought into it. Yeah. Like the drugs, like the alcohol, like the men. Yeah. All setting me up just to be in this industry.
It is grooming you. It is making you a product.
Yes. And also, so there was another thing as well. So I spoke a lot about this, about being on, so I need to express this. The show that I was on as a minor was not Babe Station, but the Babe Station channel in itself, I can't really explain what it is because everyone knows what Babe Station is. So when I'm explaining it, but she also got me on one of them stations. Right. Now, because of after what's happened, the police have come to me asking me about if I want to, take this lady to prison and do I want to go through the whole process. So I've had to look deep into this. So the channel I thought was Hotel Voyeur, but because I've gone way, way back now into my emails, because I've had to speak to the police about it. And it was actually called Babe Talk, like the channel that was on. And I remember going there, and because I was her friend, they didn't ask me for any ID. They didn't ask me for anything. And I just had my one, I was like my induction, there. And it wasn't long before, because when I've had a look, it was like, my birthday's in November. It was in September when we messaged. And literally I remember messaging another company and saying, oh yeah, no, I'm 18 and I'd already been working at this station. So I knew I was a minor anyway, but it just corroborated
Confirmed.
everything that I said. Yeah. And that was when I was like, wow, okay. Then I realized I was kind of always going to end up in that industry, and obviously I did end up going into the porn industry. And I always say that it was my choice, because she actually didn't say you should do porn, but for some reason I ended up thinking I can make more money doing this, I can go out there, and I created this alias for myself. And when I say I embodied that alias, Sam just disappeared, and I turned into this, I'm a sex object, I love sex, I am the biggest whore in the room. Like, what the hell, man? Like, I basically lost all respect for myself.
And who's that remind us of? It's as we said, it's Tia, it's Bonnie Blue.
I know, and this is one of the biggest reasons that I know today with this influence, and there's another, I don't know, is it Lauren Phillips?
Lily Phillips.
Like, I hate to roll my eyes, sorry girls.
No, but it's because you've lived the experience and you know the bullshit.
I know, and I know how dangerous the things that they're doing, what they're doing, because me being in the industry as well.
Yeah.
So, let's unpack the adult industry, shall we?
Wow. I mean, first of all, thank you for being so open and honest about where you've come from and how it started, because I think it gives us adults, the ones that look at Bonnie Blue and go, well, it's just her, she's screwed.
She's a slag, like, and that's what I think as well, like, we need to stop looking at her like that, like, we need to understand that this has come from somewhere.
Correct.
And another thing, like, God bless my mum, bless her, like, she was kind of enabling my behaviour when I got into this industry. So when I got into the adult industry and I got on Babe Station and stuff, my mum would be like, oh, look, my daughter's on TV, and she'd sit there watching it with my stepdad and my granddad.
Jesus
and
Christ.
You know, now I'm sat there and I'm in my head right now and I'm thinking, oh, Mum, she
couldn't separate the fame from the real core issue, which was that you were basically being trafficked.
Yeah, I mean, in that industry in general, like, so basically when I went into the adult industry, like I say, like, I became this alias and I was doing really well, yeah, like, and that's why when people say, oh, that only happens in the lower end, no, it doesn't, mate. I was in all the top echelons of the bloody adult industry, which is not something I'm proud of, but I was on the Playboy, I was in the, in all of the things, where the Harmony, like, you know, I was on DVD covers, I was on billboards in Australia, I was getting flew out to private islands, like, with another company called Private, which was a big well-known company, babe, that was very valued, you know what I mean? Like, if you worked for these people, you would be seen as a commodity in the adult industry. So obviously I was 18. And the worst thing was, so when I got into the adult industry, I got into the industry through a company called Kilogram. Now, Kilogram are perpetrators, like, straight up. They had a pimp called Don Roble in their establishment. The mum and dad who do the filming introduce you to their kids, get you, like, real, like, you know, family orientated and that, and they do all the shooting in the house while the kids are at school.
Oh my God.
Yeah, babe, like, it's screwed. And the influence that they have on you, like, it's sick. Like, honestly, the way that they work, like, they always prey on the young girls. They're giving you £50 extra for the anal scene. Like, obviously, all I'm gonna say is that if you do that industry right, you can make a lot of money. And I was making a lot of money, and I was gradually doing different scenes. Yeah. And that's another thing as well. They push to the extent of, like, so in the adult industry. So obviously, like, I was 18 when I was doing the adult content, and when I was doing it, there was nothing real about it whatsoever. It's so derogatory. Yeah. It's so fake. Like, there's no orgasms. Like, and the image that it's pushing, the aggression, the hardcore, you know, I remember seeing certain things and it gives me chills because, like, there's certain times when I was asked to do an anal scene, and I kept pushing it off because I wanted a certain amount of money, and then a company offered me that money and I was like, all right, okay, I'll do it. And people don't realise you have to have these butt plugs in your bum for God knows how long. You have to do these things called enemas and douches. You can't eat for 24 hours before. Oh my God. This is a normal thing. And I walked in and, like, there's girls with anal tears. Like, there's girls that are basically, because of they're having prolapses, babe. Yeah, because the amount of force it's an exit hole.
This is one of the most dangerous things. People don't realise.
It's so dangerous. And this is the thing, like, so I worked for someone called Rocco Siffredi, who is a very aggressive performer, and it's sick. Like, I think they've got a bloody Netflix documentary about him from what I know, but I don't know. I feel like till this day, like, I seen a woman get raped on that video, babe. Like, because obviously, like, it was such a weird video anyway. They made her shave her head. She was the jealous girlfriend, and I was the dominant girl that was coming in, and I don't know, just the whole like choking and asphyxiating people, like sticking fists up people. Like, babe, there was a lady called Donna, I can't remember her last name, but she ended up doing some mad things, like putting 2 feet up her and that. So obviously the boundaries are being pushed, babe. I mean,
this is leading to, surely this is disability that we're talking about.
They do stuff like that though. They have adult content with people with one leg, or like people who are in wheelchairs, or deaf and dumb people. Like, they're looking for these performers out there, like, and this is the thing, like the way that this is being pushed. So for one, like, girls don't look like that.
No.
Like, girls are having their bitch chopped off. Like, girls are like literally bleaching their arsehole, like, and stripping everything away. And it's like, you're showing a fake narrative of
this is not what women look like.
But you want to see no girl orgasm, you're never going to see it on freaking porn, babe. This is the thing, like, girls, like, you know what I mean, we stiffen up, we look a bit weird, babe. we don't look beautiful, that's for sure. And
never a true word said,
babe, the way that they portray it in the movies, like, and that's when I'm like, oh my God, this is what kids are seeing, and
that's what they're expecting it.
And this is what I'm saying, like, now they're having studies out, and there's kids as young as 7 years old, and this is what I'm saying, like, people don't realise the dangers of the adult content.
There are boys as young as 6 watching girls being fisted. By the time they get to sex, what the hell do they think sex is about?
But a lot of them by that point, babe, will have erectile dysfunctions, because they're not going to be able to.
Well, there's a statistic, isn't there?
Yeah, massive statistic.
The lady, Dr. Charlotte Armitage, that did the Bonnie Blue conversation
I love that lady. Yeah, she's lovely.
She's amazing. And she also did an episode with me before, actually, on the digitalisation of the world and how it's affecting kids. And there is something about men in their 20s now are getting erectile dysfunction as opposed to men in their 40s, because they have had so much access to
overstimulation, babe.
The dopamine resources are literally gone,
mate,
because
fatigued.
they're so hijacked. To
they're
a
like,
level.
Where are we? There's nothing that they can get off, and that's another thing that the adult industry does.
It leads to the next most explicit,
extreme
dangerous thing,
because the dopamine's not going to get hit by the thing. So before you know it, the straight guys are looking at gay porn, tranny porn, bestiality, like all of this mad stuff, and like,
and then there's shame attached to that. Surely, so if you're a straight guy, and you've been watching porn since you were, I'm talking about the young men, say you've been watching porn since you were 12, and you've literally seen everything and anything. Like you say, the dopamine hijacking is real, the fatigue of the dopamine is real, the metabolization is so quick, it's not being retained. What weird and wonderful thing do I have to look at? Right,
next,
then that.
Because you're trying to get your next fix, innit?
And then the shame. Because you can't tell anyone that.
Exactly. And then, but that's when they end up on forums, and that's when they end up in their little groups.
And that's what's turning to
and it's dangerous as well, babe. And then that's what's happening. Their brains are getting basically their brains are getting rewired. Neuroplasticity is happening in a very bad way, a toxic way that is giving them this false sense of society where they're going to go out and they're not even going to get turned on by their own partner anymore.
No, they're not.
This is what people don't realise. Like, when you're watching this adult content, like, you are going to start looking at your partner differently. People are like, oh, porn's innocent. No, it's not.
No, it's
when
not.
When something is free, you are the commodity, and you better believe that. And it's only now that we're looking at age verification on adult sites.
You can still access stuff without an age verification.
I know, but I can press a bloody thing anyway. I can get a fake ID. I was getting in clubs when I was bloody 16. Exactly. I know how to get and that was me at my age. The kids today are very smart.
They need to bring them down totally. I know it's too far gone, because the amount of shares that things have, and
massive, babe. If we think about this is another thing. Like, people are always like, oh, there's 4 million people on OnlyFans. How about we deep the fact there's over 200, nearly 3 million members on OnlyFans. There's a demand for this, babe. This is why, like, now I align with people like Fight the New Drug. We're looking at hashtag stop the demand, because if there's no demand, there's no supply. The supply only comes from the demand. People like Tia have only come, Bonnie Blue, have only come now because of the way that this has been pushed to the extreme. Like, you need to understand, like, so like in my, there was another scene that I remember, like, and I've spoke about this a few times, but it always sticks in my head because it was my first anal scene. And I remember walking into a lady and she was being battered by, I think it was about 4 or 5 guys. And she was shitting everywhere, babe.
Oh,
like,
God.
there was shit all over the floor. And all that was happening was she was running off, bless her. Apparently, this lady had just took a break. So she took her off. They cleaned up the floor, back at it. And I'm just like, bro, like, where's the care? Like, why are you having mental health checks for reality TV shows, but you're not having mental health checks for one of the most sacred things that we are ever going to experience in our life that is being pushed to debauchery? Like, it's like the whole adult industry now is so extreme and so hardcore. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, my first scene, I got asphyxiated by the guy. Like, and I'm trying to tell people, when you're watching my content, you are looking at an abused woman, a drug addict, because I was highly addicted to cocaine at this point. Like, but from my whole adult industry career, cocaine got me through, like, literally, and it was my go-to drug at all times. Like, and it was crazy because obviously the place where Tia shot her 1,000-man train, I was meant to live there with Edward Davenport. I'm close to the exact same people that she was. We shot a lot of our adult content in the 33 Portland Place, which is the place where she shot her stuff. And Edward, I'm not going to say too much on him, but he likes his young Thai girls, from what I can see.
Yeah.
But even still, like, that whole place and the whole industry in itself, like, it just breeds just a way where you lose all sense of reality, like, it
and
just
self. You lose all sense of self.
You don't even know who you are.
No.
Like, and that's it. That, I think that's what has to happen so that you can get through what you're getting through.
Look at everyone calls Tia, and she calls it herself Bonnie Blue. She's not Tia, that's herself.
Yeah, that's who
she's
you
Bonnie
are.
Blue.
And I lost Sam.
Yeah.
Like, Sam got lost. Like, Sam got lost as little Sam, but Sam got lost in that industry. And I only get emotional because, again, like, I made, for me, I've spent thousands of pounds trying to get my content taken down now. And
has it succeeded? No.
No. And that's the thing, like, it, even till this day, like, you know, I say that I signed the devil's fucking contract, because when you sign that contract, they have access to that content of you, and they'll
forever,
and they'll just keep going. Luckily, none of my stuff was ever shot in HD, so a lot of the stuff now is getting put. It's like Emmanuel, it's getting pushed back because the way it looks isn't as good as, like, some of the stuff that's out now, kind of thing. It's all pixelated, thank God. I'm like, oh, thank God, technology keep expanding. Get my stuff pushed down. But yeah, the industry in itself is just,
well, it's satanic.
I really feel like it is, babe. Like, I feel like the whole sense of it in itself. And then obviously, like, when you do look at things like Trafficking Hub and Girls Do Porn, like, how, like, look at the creators of that. They're getting put into prison now for making money off child, like, you know, like, you can't sometimes, like, I don't like to call it child exploitation, because I'm like, let's, like, put a real word on that makes you realize how, to the extent of what they're doing. There was a 15-year-old girl writing into Trafficking Hub being like, please take my content down. Like, millions, they monetized millions of pounds off them views of this minor being abused online. And they literally give her an email that was like a generic email back. The girl nearly commits suicide, man. Like, and I'm just like, how much revenge porn has been uploaded on these sites? You know, like, when are we going to get to a point to realize that this is sick? It's satanic.
It is.
Like, what actual good does it bring? Like,
none.
I can't think of anything positive that it brings, babe.
It breaks the person that's been exploited.
Yeah.
It is taking away this, you called it the sacred act. it stops anything being about love, connection.
Yeah.
It stops the act of sex being sacred. It should be about love. It should be about closeness and safety and togetherness and strengthening a
relationship. Making love is a total different thing from hardcore porn.
But these, unfortunately, going back to the point you were making earlier about kids, they don't know that.
How do they know?
They don't know that because their education,
that's their sex education
is
now,
sometimes
babe.
Because they're seeing it like that 15-year-old girl. That's what they're seeing, and it's normal to them because, look, I mean, this is a very different thing, but obviously Charlie Kirk's just been shot.
Oh God, yeah.
And I opened up Instagram to open a message just before I was going to go to sleep. So I saw the notification. I realised who it was because I needed a phone number from them. Anyway, long story short, I opened it up and I see this guy get shot in the neck. I actually see a man being murdered in front of me. And I'm just like...
There's too much explicit content we're seeing, babe.
That is murder. I'm seeing a man being killed and dying in front of my face. And we're not even talking about porn where people aren't aware of what they're going... They're not
aggressive side of it.
And also they're probably thinking, oh, I feel a little bit horny. I'm on my own. I'll go on to this. Like you say, it becomes a regular...
It's just a dopamine hit,
dopamine
babe.
hit.
Yeah, that's all that it is. And your reticular activating system is making the decision of A plus B equals
Correct.
C. And that's what
Correct.
you know.
But then even with Instagram, talking about that Charlie thing, I've made a point not to like anything, not to watch anything for too long because I know I'll keep seeing it and all of that. But then there's people that say to me, when I open up Instagram, all I see is these like AI girls now. And some girl said to me, she's a sport... she's like a sports girl, so she does loads of sports. Anyway, so she follows a lot of sporting things on Instagram. And it's a client of mine. She said she opened up Instagram the other day and it was like a gymnast thing. It was clearly AI. So she was watching it to see what it was. And it's these Chinese girls with old men that are supposed to be their coaches adjusting their gymnast stuff.
AI is going to be like, this is the thing as well with... Yeah, babe. And this is another thing that the industry pushes, like the teen section.
Yeah.
Like it's like barely legal, all of these kind of words. And I'm just like, oh my God.
But you're making them... Because the man or the woman watching that content, barely legal, these girls, and this was on the Bonnie Blue thing as well, they look 14. Whether they're 18 or not, they look 14. So now the person watching it is seeing barely legal, assuming that they're 18, but is getting turned on by someone who looks 14.
Yeah, because they want the girls that look the youngest. They want the girls that have flat chested, and then they make them shave everything down there as well. Like it's really weird, babe. Like, and that's another thing. Like with there's a couple of things that I want to mention: Fight the New Drug and Exodus Cry. And I forgot Layla's last name, but it will come to me. Mc something.
What is that's so bad that we can't.
I
remember
know
her name.
because she is a massive.
I'll link her. I'll link her on the podcast.
Yeah. I think Mc something, but she
is it like McQuaith? I can't say it. I know what you mean.
It is. I don't know what I last.
She's
but,
integral.
She's amazing, and I've been following her before she did all her big podcasts, and everything that she stands for, like with Trafficking Hub and exposing them for who they are and all the downloads that they've been making money off.
She's so integral in this process.
I know, and I think it's people like her, people like us, who are fighting the good fight.
Who keep talking and keep going on. I mean, some people think it's like, oh, you're banging the same drum. Well, if that's how you see it, that's how you see it. It's not about banging the same drum. It's about having a voice and using it for the right things.
Exactly, because you can use your tongue. The word is life and death is in the tongue.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It is. It is.
You can use it as the sword that's going to cut someone, or you can use it to the sword to fight battle.
Yeah.
And I think with this whole adult industry rhetoric that this is sex positive, like it's the most least sex positive thing that anyone could do. And again, like a lot of the women, they're seeing these women that are in OnlyFans that are getting millions of pounds. I mean, they're like 1% of the women. Not everyone's getting paid that money in OnlyFans. Like a lot of people are just about getting by.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. It focuses on people like the single mums, like the people that need the help.
Yeah.
Like the girls are looking now, like, oh, shall I go and get 40 grand's worth of debt and get a degree, or shall I just go on OnlyFans right now, or go and do stripping, or go and do this? I'm telling you right now, these industries will not make you happy. Money in that way will end up killing part of your soul, and it's took me a long time to get that back, babe. Like selling myself like in that way like because like I am so conscious now, and I'm like so aware of my own body and respect and love it, like, and I'm with an amazing partner, like I'm like, it really like upsets me that I've done these things to myself, and it upsets me that I like this content is out there, like, because then I'm like, oh my, that's why I have to speak, because I'm like, I don't want to be part of the problem, and that content that I've done is part of the problem, babe. Like, people think I'm in them videos and they won't see this interview and they'll think, yeah, she's enjoying that, she's loving it, because I put on a show, but I swear to God, like, there is not one part of me. Most of the time I was off my face as well. So you're looking at a drug-fueled, trauma bonded person that is not in the right mindset. Like, you need to think about who you're getting off to. Like, and there was a lady called Sophie something, who was in the adult industry, and she was abused from like the age of, I think she was like 11 years old. Like, and this is the thing again, a lot of people in the industry have been abused in their life, like one way or another, whether it's as a child or as an adult. And again, what does that say about the industry? What, you're looking for broken people? What? Yeah, so
for sure they are.
For what reason?
That because the industry is built on that.
Exactly, babe, because it's easily influenced. Like, and that's what is the saddest thing. So, yeah, the adult industry is something I despise. I don't even think making it sex work legal is going to even help, because then when you look at things like the red light districts, when you've legalized it, the pimps have more easily access to the girls, and they have actually more rights, because like when the girls were getting arrested before and getting taken, you know, to the cell, they could have a potential to be like, yo, I've got this pimp. Like, not that wouldn't rarely happen anyway, but now you're making it legal, so you're not arresting anyone, and the pimp's just being like free flow, boom, boom, boom. Like, the red light district like is showing you what this is about. Girls in a frigging window, like, and that is what you end up being, a product. Like, that's all you are, is a product. You're not a person. You are a product, and you are on a cattle field, like, you know, like it's like a cattle market. Next. And if you don't do something, someone else will. Yeah. And that's what is worse, because they are pushing the boundaries now to the extent that is just going to make sure that your brain is looking for the next big fix, you know? So, I was in that industry until I was 21. And I remember, like, in that time... Yeah, sorry.
So I was going to say from 17 till 21, so 5 years.
Yeah, so I was in that industry. I was, and I still carried on doing the escorting. I still carried on doing the babe station. I was on all the Page 3 and all this. I even won Adult Actress of the Year. Mate, that does not go on my CV, that's for sure.
No, that is something.
I'm not like literally in the bin, like, bye-bye. But this, I only say that because I just want people to understand that the derogatory element of it comes in every single level. Yeah. Like, you know, look at Playboy, for example, in general.
I mean,
like,
what
an old man disgrace. With these free women, like, what, we're cheering that along? Like, come on, man. Like, and you know that there was some mad party. You think P. Diddy's parties were something like, come on, like, they're all pals, like, and it's like, he even had these girls, and the end of his, like, literally at the end of his tether being like, I want to marry you and all this, and I'm just like, wow, trauma bond, like, of course, on a massive scale, babe.
But you've taken away, and I think this is really important to say at this point, because you were 17 going in, 21, and then you carried on escorting. When we look at brain development, we have to understand this, and I think a lot of people go, and you've had these comments, well, you made good money out of it. You were an adult when you were making these choices, as in you were 18, which to me is still a child.
No, like
21 is still a child.
At 25 is when your brain is fully developed, like, right? So, and even then we're still a bit like...
we still haven't, like, we've still got some way to go. I know that for sure. But... even now, I think I've still got some way to go.
I've got to say, I'm 36. I still know I'm willing to learn and grow every day.
Because we're all human. Yeah. So at that age, we're baby humans still, in my book. Yeah. And so what I'm going to say here is that with this grooming of this older lady that sort of brought you in and made you feel like you were wanted and safe and needed and all those things.
She was glamorising it as well. And also being in the industry, it's very glamorised and normalised that these anal tears are normal.
Yeah, you know, like, so it's just, that's just what happens. It'll be fine.
Happens, like, and I'm just like, what? Like, you know, having two 2 penises in one hole is normal. I'm just
well, yeah, then you desensitize, but also this is the key part of this, and I think a lot of people that listen to this may already have heard me say this, but if there's new listeners or whatever, it's important to say this. Emotional experiences create physiological changes in the brain. You've mentioned neuroplasticity, but we would call that brain damage.
Yeah.
Because when that child is going through explicit, derogatory, abusive situations, the changes that are made are not positive neuroplastic changes, they're negative. So they feel stuck in a state of permanence. And of course, like you say, it's normalised.
Yeah.
So nothing to see here. This is just completely normal. What they don't realise is their amygdala, which is the danger tracker, and also the pleasure centre of the brain, it looks for pleasure, is now dialed up to 10. Yeah. So it's, again, we mentioned the hijacking of dopamine, but it's dialed up to 10, constantly looking for pleasure, constantly tracking danger. So now we're in a hyper-attuned, hyper-vigilant state. Not only that, we haven't got life experience yet or good people around us to go, do you know what? I don't think this is a good choice. So there's no interference in that new neuroplastic change.
Yeah.
But also the nervous system can only take so much. The cellular system and the nervous system will eventually start to collapse. In other words, dissociation, numbness, freeze.
Yeah.
So no longer are we in a state of fight flight when this is going on. When we're watching someone defecate all over themselves, when they're being anally penetrated by several men, we're no longer. I'm not saying that wasn't horrible for you, but
it was normal, babe.
It was normal.
It just, I obviously I thought it was weird, but then it just got brushed under the carpet.
Of course, so eventually it becomes the norm. So no longer are you in fight flight when you see that. You're in freeze. It becomes dissociated, detached, disconnected, and crack on with your day. Yeah. So when you're making choices from a freeze state, dissociation, detachment, and from not permanent but emotional brain damage.
100%.
These are not conscious, healthy decisions that are being made. They're being made by people that were vulnerable to start with and have been groomed and conditioned to see this as normal. Yeah. So when we blame the person that made the decision, we have to have that context.
Definitely, 100%. And it's so funny because obviously when I do talk about the adult industry, I think I was saying before, like, although I'll get men coming in saying, oh, you're washed up and that, but then I've had some of the old performers come to me and I'm just like, babe, like, I know you're still in it, like, because of the way you're talking, like, just because I've come out of it and I'm talking about things that actually happen within it, like, don't dismiss that. Like, understand, like, I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking this industry because this industry is not what everyone's making it out to be. And then obviously, like, people get really obsessed, babe. Like, I had obsessed fans, like, and stuff, like, that were just obsessed with me, like, do you know what I mean? And it's weird, like, so obviously, like, I'm not going to say any names, but basically my girlfriend's sister, her boyfriend at the time was a sex addict and he knew who I was when he met me.
Oh, and no.
That's so embarrassing because obviously at that point I was out of it and obviously I met him and he's like, I know you. And I knew what he said. I knew what he was saying. Because when I get that look, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, God knows, I was 21. So, like, it's like 15 years ago now. And people still remember me. Yeah. Like, I literally used to work for a charity as a fundraiser on the street. And I had certain men coming up to me going, excuse me, are you this person? And I'm like, no. I'm like, get away from me, you weirdo. I'm like, no. And they literally would stood on the corner staring at me. Oh. And that's another thing, like, people become so obsessed with your alias. They don't realise that it's not even you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, when I was signing, like, DVD covers and stuff, and I hate to say it, but a lot of the guys was very unsociable men because that's another thing that happens. Like, it kind of pushes you away from society.
Yes, it does.
And you become antisocial.
Yeah.
And you get social anxiety as well. So I noticed a lot of the guys couldn't really string a sentence, like, and they were so nervous and they were, they were scared, like, and that's the thing, like, it takes away all of your stuff about communication. Like, they don't realise that they're a product of this is what porn has done to them. And it's just crazy, innit? Because obviously, like, I don't really go on X anymore, Twitter, but, like, the adult content that's on Twitter, I mean, I know that they want it to be...
I'm not on there.
Babe, they want it to be, like a free-for-all and not, like, monetized, like, what?
I mean, look, I understand free speech. We must have it.
Yeah, of course, like...
But I just find like, because I've been told this before, you'll come across stuff that
it's just
I can't.
I'm like, what the hell?
I'm sorry, my brain is not made for that.
But have you ever had as well, like, so obviously, like in your request groups where like you're in a group and you've not even been added to the group, but it's a bunch of bots that are trying to sell sex to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are they doing this to kids?
They will be, yeah.
Because they're going to, if you've got an Instagram, they're going to be targeting you.
They will be.
And I want to like stress a lot to the girls that do have OnlyFans, like, please do me a favour, put your account on private.
Yes.
Because you like, we know what you do, we know what you're doing, but do you know that kids have access? I know you got to make your coin, I know you got to be accessible to so many people, but please stop like having an open page, because the kids are online, and there's going to be kids like me who haven't got that family unit around them. How much easy access can we get online now?
Again, this is where, I mean, again, you made a good point there. If only that would be the case. But obviously those girls that you're talking about, they know they're not going to make their money if they do that. So this has to come, and this is going to take a long fight. This has to come from higher up. But they're never gonna do it.
No, they're involved with it, babe.
Of course.
They want to have it this way.
Well, why would Channel 4 show the Bonnie Blue documentary in such explicit detail? If
when you know, and then she was like, boys, you got to be in bed, like, and all this. I'm like, bro, like, and even her, like, she is pushing a narrative.
She
like,
is, yeah.
I don't like that. Like, that's one thing that I will actually call her out on. Like, I don't like how you're rolling with like your bare, like, you know how bad that is for a man doing it to a woman. Like, why are you like? And then she starts saying that this is a result of feminism. I'm like, babe, this is the furthest thing. Like, feminism was because women couldn't have bank accounts back in the day, and they couldn't get away from their abusive parents. But feminism is because we didn't have the right to vote. Like, this has nothing to do with feminism whatsoever.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a girl that, and again, sorry, Tia, but this is a girl that seems to get her information from TikTok. You know, it's not a reliable source of valid information. So I feel like she hasn't really delved into the history of feminism. Look, and I'm not one for extreme anything, whether it's extreme feminism, whether it's
when it's the extremes, that's when it goes wrong.
Of course. Like, so I understand that some people might argue that feminism's gone wild. Feminism in itself hasn't gone wild.
It's the extremist.
It's always like anything. Anyone that's an extremist is a problem in any area. So for her to do that, she's just pulling on the people that go, oh yeah, feminism's extreme. No, it's not.
But it's rage bait, isn't it? Of course, her and Andrew do the same. It's rage bait.
Yeah.
It's
in
always
fact,
rage bait.
I've just, an episode will go out before yours actually, Sterling Cooper. I don't know if you've come across Sterling.
Oh, I don't think so.
Right, Sterling Cooper is ex-porn star.
Oh, wow.
He's not a fan of the industry.
Oh, no way, there's a man doing what I'm doing.
Well, slightly different. I'll be interested to see what you think. So he is a confidence coach for boys in the bedroom, because he understands that with the industry being the way it is, that it's come away from safety in the bedroom, connection
knowing
in the bedroom,
your partner, being intimate and stuff,
all
like
of that stuff. There's some
fair
things.
Point.
Fair point. Your face is like,
I'm like, fair point.
but there is some. But he is an associate of Andrew Tate. So I did pull him up on it. He didn't really want to speak on it, and fair enough, because he hates to speak on somebody else's behalf.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah.
Part of our conversation was about autoerotic asphyxiation, because obviously it's very popular in the industry, and I also know a lot of girls that have been abused have a rape fantasy.
Yeah, I know this whole thing, babe. The choking and asphyxiating, like, that was getting big when I was in the industry.
And it's a thing. There's a lot of it around. So he was trying to, and to be fair, I think he was trying to be very, very careful and respectful with me. So he was talking about when he teaches boys, you know, because obviously they're seeing this stuff, and the truth is they are seeing this stuff. Yeah. So he's trying to coach boys that if you place your hand on a girl's chest and she freaks out, you've got to stop. And my question was, but what do you do once she's freaked out? Because
then it's a trauma in sex.
Yeah. Like... So like, obviously she might have been abused before, or she might just be really sensitive and she's scared. So although the boy that you're coaching is only putting his hand here and he's not putting his hand around her neck unsolicited, if she's had an abusive background, a traumatic background, and she has a real sort of trauma response.
Yeah, visceral response to it, yeah.
My question was, but what do we then do? Because the boy might feel angry that he's being rejected, or angry that she's freaking out, because he hasn't actually been having these conversations. He's just seen it in porn and thinks, well, this girl's wrong. The girl in the porn film.
This is what she like.
But obviously...
They don't like it, guys.
Yeah, they don't. And And that conversation has to be had prior. His point was that if you have the conversation prior to sex, it's not sexy. I was like, I get that. I do understand that. And I'm in full agreement. You don't want to have like a full therapy
We're going to
plan.
do this. We're going to be like, right, do this. We could place this here at this point.
Exactly. That's ridiculous.
No.
But I guess
boundaries should be spoke about though, babe.
Exactly. And I think this is where, although I wanted to hear his side of things, because I think it's really important if you're going to be a confidence coach or a bedroom coach for boys and you're helping them with knowing how to talk to women.
Is he trauma informed?
I don't think he's trauma informed, no. I think his history is that he was in the swinging clubs. That's where he went into originally. He then was an escort. He then was in porn films. He now sees
He'll know Edward Davenport then.
He probably, undoubtedly. But I think his message is positive. I think there are some tweaks that we need to apply to these types of coaching, and I think we need to.
Really
But he was really brave to come on mine.
Yeah, I know for sure, especially as an associate as him.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't go too hard on him because I thought, do you know what? Fair enough. It's Andrew Tate that needs to speak for Andrew Tate, but what he was trying to say, and I'd love your take on this, was I said, look, I get that in the long form, Andrew Tate's message may have more validity. And I'm trying to be fair when I'm saying this, right? The clips that I've seen are disturbing. Yeah. And most people aren't going to buy his... I know he's making millions, but most people aren't buying his long form. They're buying his short form.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, if a 13-year-old boy sees one of Andrew Tate's very ranty, shouty, aggressive things...
I haven't really seen much that isn't ranty or aggressive.
No, I haven't. Like, and so I'm sure that... Yeah, exactly. Let's face it, what he's good at is marketing.
Yeah,
that
of course. That bloke
is a marketing wizard. So if he's helping people make money, great. But the problem is I don't like outrage marketing.
No, I know.
From a societal perspective, I don't give a fuck how rich he is. I wouldn't be sleeping at night if I was making my money that way. Now, he would think I'm a dickhead, I'm sure. And that's okay.
He'd think you're soft.
He would, and I get it.
I'm all right being soft.
I get it when you've conditioned your own mind. I mean, let's look at a psychopath. I'm not calling him a psychopath, but let's just for a second look at a psychopath. Just to be clear, I'm not diagnosing anyone here, but they can
disassociate
and they can pass a lie detector test.
Yeah.
Because when you believe your own lies enough, you will actually bypass a lie detector. We've seen it many, many times. So I'm not saying he's a psychopath. What I'm saying is that people can convince themselves of a truth that doesn't exist.
Yeah, of course. He reminds me a lot of my own perpetrator, which is someone that which actually
brings
really
us neatly into.
Yeah, which is really nice. Well, it's not nice. But
no, it's a horrible situation.
It's very fucking horrible.
But it was excuse my French.
But yeah, it's led us that place, which obviously, like talking about Andrew Tate, I've had to do a lot of work just so that this man doesn't trigger me, just because everything that I've ever seen about him and how he's made his money through his webcam service and all of that, he did the exact same thing that my pimp did. And the way that he discredits the lover boy technique, like honestly, like I'm not over that yet. Like he is such a disrespect to survivors. He is he's not trauma informed whatsoever. No. And I think he doesn't care. All he wants to do is cover his tracks. Obviously, we know Vivian was under the age. He's made multiple times, basically, he's turned around and said that he likes them young, and said 15 multiple times. Like, this man has said the most derogatory things about women. He has pushed a narrative that is so disruptive to society. Like, and they literally turn around and say that he's promoting masculinity. Like, he's the furthest thing of what a masculine man is. And, you know, it's funny because, like, one of someone who I used to see is actually really close to him. Like, and I'm like, mate, you've got twin daughters. Like, are you okay? Like, to have a man like this, like, around them. Like, but again, he's just about the clout and the ego. And I think a lot of the people that support him are in their ego, you know, like they're so stuck in their ego that they think yeah, I have to be a masculine man and I have to be alpha and rah, rah. Mate, honestly, anyone who is not satisfying their woman in the bedroom is not an alpha, mate. Like, and honestly, anyone who gets off on the amount of abuse that he has done sexually enjoying to women, babe, come on, I can't be on the side of this. And it's not.
No.
It's just not just that as well. Like a lot of the things that he said about like even promoting to beat women. You know, I remember watching one of the videos like, and I had to turn it off because he was literally talking about if a woman come in and she's got the knife and he's like, yeah, I just punch her in the throat, go get the knife like this and go me. And
it's really infantile, wasn't it? I've seen
like
that clip.
you know that one that I'm talking about. And then he says, I'll grab her by the throat like this. And I remember he sat on the bed like,
and he's like, oh, the panties. Saying it.
And he's like saying the panties are wet, and I'm just like, ew. That's probably because she's peed herself because she's so scared, mate.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Like, and obviously I know again that he's had a really rough upbringing, like with his dad and stuff, and he's been in the CIA and he's a Maury the second, and he's trying to embody probably his dad, like, and whatever. But like, I'm telling you, him and his brother have made, like, because for me, I can honestly say some of the things that he says I agree with. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
About the way that you know, get out of a depressive state is to make sure that you're working out, you're eating right, you're going out.
But that isn't that the problem? And that's the point I was making.
Yeah.
Because some of what he says in his long form will be about how to make good money, how to be a good marketer, how to be a healthy man. Get up, have a purpose, have a passion. I agree with that, but that is the problem. There lies the problem. If you are watching this stuff and you're going, even me, yeah, actually, Andrew Tate's got a good... And I've said this, Andrew Tate's got a good point.
Yeah.
Yep, I can go along with that. Now I'm being conditioned.
Yeah. But I'm not going to dismiss everything that he said. Hitler had a good few points as well, but I'm not exactly going to be like, oh yeah, let's all like agree with him. Like, do you know what I mean? There's some wrong-uns throughout society. Like, that's the thing. Like, I am not going to sing off the same hymn sheet as you because you've got a few verses that are the same as mine. Yeah. It's not going to work. Like, I hold myself as a moral high ground that if someone has pushed a boundary, and a massive boundary for me was exploiting girls by bringing them in. He set up something called a pimping hoes degree, which is then teaching other men how to traffic girls.
I know.
No.
I know someone that's a product of that, and I'll tell you how I know him, and I can't obviously say any names, but I knew him from when he was 13. He had a very, very, very difficult background, sexual abuse, lots of different things going on. Didn't have a stable home ever, ended up taking one of these courses. From what I can gather, I don't know this all factually, but this is putting the pieces together, now is doing that.
It's a cult. It's a cult.
It's a cult.
It's a massive cult. Like,
and that's why I say it was so dangerous.
And it's funny because he'll be hypocritical though, because he'll be like, you should get off the adult industry. But then how did you make all your money, mate, out of that webcam and get... He was the one that was writing to men. So he was pretending to be women. And that's the thing as well. Like what he did where he took them girls, made out he was their boyfriend, got them in that house and worked them. Like, I don't care if you're taking 50 or whatever percentage you was taking. These girls couldn't leave. They were scared to leave. Yeah. And there war rooms. Like, I've seen the chats from the war rooms. I've listened to this guy. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the one interview I wouldn't listen to is him and Tia. Like, I can't.
I have watched that and it was
just
very disturbing.
It's a zoo, mate.
It was very disturbing.
That's what I'm saying.
Her sort of like doe-eyed, I love you, Andrew. I'll say whatever you want me to say, Andrew, so that me and you can be best friends, Andrew. That's what came across. It was like she couldn't have wanted to. He was calling her a hoe and stuff. She was going, yeah, well, I am. And she was just completely like, I'll do anything if I'm your friend. To impress this guy.
Yeah. Well, but the picture spoke for itself. That's why I couldn't watch it because, again, like, it was just showing a woman in a derogatory place. It like, and you know, that's what I mean. That's why when he's saying he wants to empower women, like, it's a load of BS. Like, and you know, the worst thing is that he's got a daughter, and I pray over that girl. Like, and not because of him, but I obviously he's gonna have an influence. But I do pray over her because, like, you know, karmically, like, is she going to end up with a guy like him, like, and how he used to be, like, because that's usually what happens when you have kids and they end up, like, they're usually a product of you, and then you have to see something play out and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So my siblings, like, they've had abusive relationships, and I think it's made my dad, and I have as well, and it's made my dad be like, shit.
Yeah.
What did I do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you sometimes you have to.
That's
the
your
karma
mirror.
is real. Like
That's
it's
your
karmic's
mirror.
real, babe. Like, and honestly, like, and that's why, like, I really try to move now in integrity. And like I said, like anything that I pass on to my kids, I will let them know about my story, not to the gruesome extent, but I want to let them know because, like you said, like safeguarding them.
Yeah.
My kids need to understand that the truth, because I couldn't tell the truth to my parents. Like, and this is how the next part of my story comes, because when I was 21, that's when I got introduced to my own Andrew Tate, you know? And I got introduced by Becky, the girl that groomed me. And that was the worst thing, because she had met this guy and she kept trying to push this narrative that he's going to save, he's going to help us, he's going to make us loads of money. The same narrative he was pushing to the girls, let me help you, let me show you how to make money, let me do this, like, and selling you the dream, basically. And she was trying, God bless her, she was trying me. And I was like, no. But then I realised the reason that she was trying is because she got told, once I come, she gets off. She stops working. She gets Madam Wu, because that's what she always wanted. Madam Wu was who she was, and that's what she wanted. She wanted her own escort agency so she could be a pimp. And I look back now and realise that's exactly who I was best mates with.
Yeah, the pimp.
Like, so I went from her to him. So when I met him, I was, like I say, I was introduced to him by her. She made out that he was some gangster. So initially the bit of the fear was there, but she'd introduced me to gangsters before, so I didn't see it as anything out the norm. But he called me, at the time he had his security with him. So obviously I was like, oh my God, who is this guy? And then he brought his bag of coke. He'd been told about what it was that I needed, and she had prepped him basically. So when I met him, he then gave the whole spiel of like, what do you want? How can we get you rich? You know, how can we get your family to be, you know, in a place where, you know, you can make sure that not only you are okay, but they're okay. He was selling me some next level dream. And that's the exact same tactics as the lover boy effect. Like, they are making sure that they're befriending you.
Yeah.
They want you to feel like they are your saving grace.
Yeah.
I'm going to look after you. The only difference between him and Andrew Tate is that I wasn't fucking this guy, because he was more of a father figure to me than he was a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So it's the same terminology, it's just used in a different way. And he was basically selling me this narrative of like, oh, you're going to be... But I told him that I wanted to set up an agency so that girls could know how to be in the industry and make their money the right way, because I had done a few mistakes, and I was like, let's show girls what we'll do is we'll charge them a fee for the website and then let them own their own stuff.
So even then you're trying to help them.
But obviously now I'd never do that, because I'm like, bro, that ain't helping.
No, but your intent to help was there.
Yeah, I just wanted to get, again, like the girls, I'd made some mistakes in the industry, and I knew, again, it was about the money. I could have capitalised in a different way. Yeah. And I just wanted to make sure that if girls were getting in the industry, that they could have made the most and they could have kept their money. And that's when I was like, it's so important that we get the girls to have their own website and they own the rights of their own stuff first. Yeah. Because when you, believe it or not, that's what everyone wants, your first scene, your first girl boy, your first girl, your first thing, because that's what sells. Everyone's like, oh my God, it's her first. Like when Jenna Jameson went from being like a glamour girl to the porn industry, they were on the edge of their seat, you know what I mean, for it. And that's what it's about, getting the first thing. That's
and
why
look
that
at
girl,
Jenna now. She's
I know,
not
babe.
been well. She wasn't well for a long time, was she?
A long time. And that's what I'm saying. Like, look at a lot of the industry girls. Like, look at a lot of them. Like, look at the resources that I've said about Exodus Cry, about Fight the New Drug. Like, these people need to be known about. And these organisations, because they are showing a lot of ex-performers like myself that are coming forward and showing about the darker sides of things.
Bravo, mate.
Yeah,
Bravo.
I know. And I think that it's massively needed. So anyway, he was trying to sell me the dream and all this. And I don't know, I think it was like the first 2 months, like everything was like we were made to get these targets. I had to hit the targets, and like it was kind of like what he would do is he'd bring other girls, and I didn't realise that these other girls were either homeless, and he used a site called Adult Work to get these other girls. Now, these other girls were like either heroin addicts or they were girls that were very young and they were in a vulnerable situation where they needed somewhere to stay and whatever. So he was like, right, work for me. I'll get you a house. I'll get you your drugs. Give me your money. Yeah. And then these other girls, and we were told that we had to always get the money from these girls and give it to Steve, because that was his name, Stephen McCrystal. So this was like a process at the start. And all the time he was like saying, right, you know, and when I'm telling you, it was an A for effort. He met with a lady called Verena Twigg from the Sunday Sport. We were making flyers. We were going to buildings to see how we were going to set up this casting couch and stuff like this. He was proper like making out that this thing that I wanted was going to happen. We got a logo made, everything, yeah. And all the while, I'm giving him this money and he's saying this is going towards this. And then also he was always slightly talking about protection, just saying, it's so I can protect you as well. I need to protect you. I'm like, okay. And then after a couple of months, I was there and then Becky was like being made that she didn't have to work. That was when I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, the penny starts to drop.
I was questioning things, but the guy was fueling me. But when I say that he was fueling me, every time I seen him, he was giving me drugs. We were staying up for hours. And he was getting my brain ready for what was coming.
Breaking you down.
Yeah. But I didn't see it like that. No. I just seen it as we were bonding, we were becoming friends. And I thought that this guy like actually was someone who was going to help me.
Yeah.
Imagine I'm giving him 2-3 grand a week. Like, I'm like, literally. And then...
and one of many giving him that as well, I'd imagine. No,
it's not just me. It's not just me. I had my own target. Becky had her target and the other girls had their own target. And that was the thing. The other girls obviously realised what was going on because they were kind of, I think they were more aware of what was going on. And there was a girl, bless her, obviously at the time, because he wasn't beating me or abusing me at this time. When one of the girls started screaming, and like when he walked into the room and she was saying about a baseball bat and stuff, obviously like, I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, get her in the room, like trying to get her out the way. And he's like, oh, she's just chatting shit. Would I ever do that to a girl? Would I ever do that? And obviously because he's done nothing to me, I'm thinking, no. I'm like, no, what about this guy's fucking helping us? He's like, she's fucking crazy. She needs to get out. So she's gone. Mind you, this girl had a fucking miscarriage and everything, like when she was going, because obviously this is where the guy, he's made out a real big point that he would really like you if you would do unprotected sex for him. So he would get a lot of the girls to do that. And then I was at the start, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like he was like, okay, that's fine. He was like, maybe one day, do you know what I mean? Like you might want to, I don't know why he would just always push this, but this is one of the things that he pushed. And I think it's because he just wanted you to be that derogatory, like to do something that he was telling you what to do.
Yeah.
That you would put your sexual health at risk,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it got a few months in and Becky ended up going and I ended up staying, and believe it or not, I thought I was in a safe space, and then when she left, oh God,
that's when it kicked in.
Yeah, that's when it just got so bad. So I think it was like after 6 months, because he said to me at the start, he was like, I want you to show your loyalty from moving to Birmingham. So I moved from London to Birmingham. That's how I ended up in Birmingham. And I moved there. And I remember he said to me, he was like, get a place that you think I'll like. So here's me, getting the penthouse above New Street with fluffy fucking pimp boards, not realising that this is actually a pimp. Like the place looked like a pimp had me. It was trashy, but it was a penthouse. And I was like, oh, you know, it's like the top of the range. So I wanted to just impress him like that. And I got this place and he's like, oh, well done. Like, you know, and that's when we would be there. I would go across the UK getting this money that I thought was for the production company. And he every time I'd see him, I'd give him the money. I had to make sure the notes were the right way. I'd have to make sure there was Jack Daniels, and there was he wanted a certain Richmond Super King. That's how much I'd pushed it back.
Wow.
I know, and we always had to make sure that we had these, and chicken wings. He always wanted spicy chicken wings. I always had to make sure that these certain things were in the house when he was there, and it was all part of the grooming process of getting me to be his bitch.
Yeah.
Because that's what you have to do. You have to do certain things that your man is gonna be like approving of to show that you're worse, you're kind of
he's on
you're
a
his
pedestal.
submissive basically, and that's exactly what Andrew Tate is about. Having this woman be submissive, do whatever I say, whenever I say, give me my money, bitch, like this kind of mentality. And that's exactly what it was with me. And then so at first, like within the 6 months, it was like a little bit of a slap. And then he was like saying to me, now you're my woman, because Becky had left. He's like, no, you know what? You're my woman now. And I was like thinking that it was like some big thing, like some big like achievement that I'd had. And I literally remember wearing it with pride, being like, yep. And I remember calling him Hub. And that was what I called him after that. And then after about 6 months, there was a bit of a slap, bit of a and a little bit of abuse, but I'd say it wasn't extreme. It was bad, but
nothing compared to what
was coming. So obviously, after the 6 months, that's when he started to like really like break me down, and he started to mention about the Illuminati. I had no recollection of what that was. I didn't know about anything, but he started to say that I'm in a cult called the Illuminati. I basically am in power with a lot of very affluent people. I know he started saying that he had connections to the Pope. And I shit you not, I was with another girl at the time who was another victim of his. And I had to take this victim to my house because we were going to work around the UK together. And something come on the TV, and this is why I thought, oh my God, maybe this guy is who he says he is. I'm not even joking, there was a message that come on the TV that started talking about the Illuminati, and it popped up on Central Park, I remember, because it was like in between like South Park or something. Now, when I've looked at this, like I've looked at it on YouTube, and it was something that was happening, like they were putting up these mad messages, and you because we had Sky Plus, we could pause it.
Yeah.
So I was pausing it, and I read it, and it literally started talking about the Illuminati and a cult and all this, and me and the girl was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God. And I thought then, I was like, I'm not safe. Like, I'm not even safe in my own house. Like what, this was my parents' house, like where I was. And I was like, oh my God, if they tap the TV, I was like, literally like, what is going on? And that's when like shit hit the fan. And like, for the next 3 years, it was just fucking hell. I can't even like explain like the abuse. Like, it was constant. Every single weekend I would see him. He was that the targets would go up, so from 3 to 4 to 5 grand a week, and then I'd be kept up for days. The sleep deprivation, the drug abuse, the beatings, the rape. And then
we can't even imagine it, most of us.
It's just,
you just can't imagine the hell that you lived in.
You just would do things where he would just like he would force me to like go down on him for hours on end, drink his urine, like literally piss in my mouth, and tell me then, because he started talking about Satan and stuff, and that's when he started saying, I'm doing this in the name of my God. Thanks, babe. Sorry.
No, don't apologise. This is awful for you to record. Don't carry on if you're not okay.
I know. It's just, whenever I think about this part, it just fucks me, because... Of
course it does.
I just think about... It's so hard to think that, like, anyone could do that to a person, you know? And I know I'm not the only person he did it to, and he was doing it to kids as well. Like, and I just remember a lot of the times he was there, and he said to me, when I was doing something, he was saying about like how he had so sorry. I just want people to understand the severity of evil that he has. He would say to me that while I was doing stuff, he remembers that when he was making a child do that and he slit their throat, and if I'm not careful, I'm going to end up in that place. And then he'd always like scare me with a place in Wales. He said there was tunnels in Wales where they take girls and get them jacked up on heroin and leave them there as sex objects. Kind of. I don't know, babe. I don't know what
it's renowned as a
I don't. I honestly don't know, because obviously he used to scare me and like turn off the motorway sometimes as if we were going there, like. Yeah, and I never went. I didn't know. I don't know about this place, like, but. For him to talk about these places,
there is a place there that does satanic stuff. So yeah,
this is the thing, like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how far this guy was. Like, I don't know if he was just a crazy psychopath who thought he was in a cult, or if he actually did have connections. But you know, from speaking in tongue and like, you know, just. I remember one time he punched me in the face and my lip was bleeding, and he went like this and like just like
I think he knew whether he'd studied these other people that were doing it. It's unfortunately, and I'm going to say this very clearly, unfortunately, these things are happening and do happen. And when I say that, I don't just mean it's people pretending that they're satanic. I mean there are groups that are killing, murdering, using blood as a drug.
Blood sacrifices. Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, because I didn't know about the Illuminati before this, and I didn't know about satanic ritual abuse or cults, I'm thinking, yo, this guy's just a fucking psycho,
Of course.
And I need to do whatever he's saying, because obviously then he always said he was going to kill my family.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, I'm fucking thinking my mum and dad are going to get killed if I don't do what this man says. So I just did everything, babe. And like, it was so bad because like one of my best friends ended up getting involved, and she ended up being sectioned, and he was like, see, I did that. He went, oh, that'll be you if you carry on. Like, and I'm thinking, oh my God, like this guy has so much power. And I remember he kept me and this girl up, for 4 or 5 nights one time. Constant, a day and night. I remember seeing the sun going up and down, and me and the girl are like this. And he's like hitting her and then hitting me, and he's saying like it was like a punching game where if anyone flinched, the other one would get a bigger punch.
Oh my God.
So we were both just sat there like this. Do you know what I mean? Like literally. And I remember when we left, God knows, how we drove. But because he was like, go work. So if the man says work, we went to work. So he went, I want you in Kent. So we had to go down to Kent, I remember. We went down to the village hotel, and me and this girl, and we still had drugs. So we were taking the drugs, we were driving, like going down. And I remember we were talking, and I thought that I seen that girl's eyes change, babe. And I fucking legged it. And I remember she legged it after me. And we were having a psychosis.
Yeah.
And because of the abuse and because of like how much we would been up, like
that sleep, alone.
The abuse is one thing, but being kept up on drugs and sleep deprivation. And I remember I thought she turned into like some vampire thing, and I'm running down. I swear, till this day, I remember this, and I've had so much therapy to try and get this out of my head, because they're like, it's not real. Like they're trying to. My therapists have said it's not real, Sam, but I still see it as real, because I was running down the corridor. My jaw had dropped to the floor, and I was banging on the doors going, no one's in control. No one's in control, because that's the message that he's pushing in my head. So I've ran down to the reception thinking this girl's going to kill me. And I've literally gone down to the reception, and I remember them asking me, do you need the police or do you need an ambulance? Because they were going to section me there and then, because they've seen me on the cam, run down the things. Obviously, I've woke up everyone, like, and literally they're like, you're gonna have to leave. I was like, I don't want you to call anyone. They're like, you're gonna have to leave then.
Oh my God.
So we left and went to another hotel, like, and literally when I've gone to the hotel, that's when we've slept. But I remember I don't think we slept too much, but I've never been so scared to be around that girl. And this was one of the younger girls, and it was so sad what he did, like, because first he broke her, the girl, and I didn't know. This was at a point at the start when I didn't know what was going on. And then he was abusing her, and he was saying to her, you need to pimp her, as in she was pimping me out. Yeah, so you need to collect the money. You tell her what to do. And I'm thinking, this girl's fucking evil.
Yeah,
Like, do you know what I mean? Because she's telling me, do this, do that. I need to go and meet her, because then he had like made out, because then I remember he beat me up in front of her and said that I'd done something wrong and now she's my woman, about this younger girl. Like, and at the time she was a minor.
Oh
Do you know what
my
I mean, babe?
God.
So like, this was like, it was so fucked. So we, obviously that was like the extreme parts, and it was literally, she left. I remember there was girls, I don't know, there must have been about 20 girls, because I was there for 3.5 years. He took 3.5 years of my life. Good man. And he tried to ruin my life, and he's an evil man. Like, I can't even understand like how someone's brain processes to be like, oh yeah, that girl looks good, let me beat the shit out of her and break her down.
They're not people, they're not humans, because
No,
they
I
don't
don't
have
think they're
human
humans.
wiring. They're psychopaths, they're sociopaths, they're narcissists.
They are devils. Like,
they are unfortunately, because of the, let me get you some tissue.
Thanks, babe. Sorry.
No, don't apologise, like, you need the tissue.
We probably should have done that before. I was thinking, mate, because I knew as soon as I sat down, I was like, oh, I'm going to cry.
I don't know why I didn't think about tissue. That's
Thanks, babe.
ridiculous. That would, like, I've seen how upset you get before.
I know. I knew I'd get upset about this part, and you know, I've been able to hold it down for the rest of it, but
this is right. Look,
it's so extreme, babe.
I mean, anyone that's gone through what you've gone through, it doesn't matter how much work you do. Can I just say this? This is not someone having a nervous breakdown. This is someone reliving a trauma.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many years worth of therapy you do. When you talk about these things and you open your heart to educate, inform, and show other girls that have gone through things that are similar or that are going through things now, right? Because just like you can find all this...
What if someone's like going through the same...
But do you know what? They're listening to you if they are. And this is my whole point. This is a free resource. There are people out there that are trapped, and they go on their phone and they see you talking. They see, yes, she's upset, but she's sitting on a podcast talking about this stuff.
And then you got
it
out.
gives them hope.
Yeah.
So when you're crying and you're going to this place, and it doesn't mean that you're not well, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It means that you're having to go back through a timeline that is extremely disturbing and traumatic.
That part always gets me.
And we're never going to understand it. Like, unless you've been there, you're
yeah.
never going to understand the fear, the psychosis. It's so disturbing on every level, and it makes me feel fucking violent.
I know, that's what I mean. Like, it can make you feel angry because, like, obviously, so I just want to go into it a bit more because, like, obviously I'm not there now, and I obviously got out of the situation, and that is why people who aren't protected will always get caught by these predators, because they need the people that are the lonely ones, the ones. This is even like, if you think about con men, like how they're going for the women that are like on like the Tinder swindler and stuff. I'm not saying like I mean, he's like a wrong un, but I'm just saying like he's not a satanic person.
No, he's not like this guy.
No, but at the same time, they're preying on the vulnerable people.
They do.
And it's so sad because obviously, like, he brought a lot of the girls off the streets, and that's why, like, I'll never ever judge a homeless person. I'll never ever judge a drug addict.
No.
These women that were with me, that he would beat as well, and that he would take their heroin from them so they'd rattle, because there's something called a rattle. Because it's in your bones marrow, essentially, the heroin. It goes so into your system that's why if you don't have it, usually anyone who gets out of being on heroin never goes back, because the whole getting out of the relapse,
it's so painful.
It's too much. The cramps, the shitting everywhere. And that's what he'd do. He'd get them to the point of shitting themselves, so they were begging him for the drugs, so that when he give them the drugs, they're his saviour. He's their saviour. Like, and that's exactly what he did. And I remember when it got really bad at the end, like, that was when God forbid how this happened, but I ended up, this lady, because one of his fortes of women, there was drug addicts, and he loved single mums, and he'd always I was like his prized possession, because obviously I'm an adult actress. I'm fucking bringing in probably the most money he's ever had. Like, I'm his pay pig, mate. Like, he's absolutely loving me. But that's why he kept me where he did. And I imagine, yeah, I'm like actress of the year, and I'm like of a year I was in, and I'm out of this glamorous girl. I didn't look it at the time because I started to deteriorate my skin. I started to go shriveled, my face, I started to go gone. I was on drugs every day. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there was no chill. I was literally going back home. My dad was like, "You've lost weight." Like, do you know what I mean? And I'm nothing about it. Like, I'm not telling him anything. I'm not telling my mum anything, nothing. And I'm off my tits. Going to Christmas meals, off my tits, going into the sniff. You hungry? No, I'm not hungry. Oh, but I'm chatting some shit though. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not chatting the shit. He knew he had me, like, because I obviously I had as another thing. The level of control that this man had over me. I had a burner phone that was specifically his phone. If I didn't answer in 3 rings, there'd be hell. And I knew I had to answer in 3 rings. There was also a protocol that I had to do where I had to send every taxi registration number that I was in. So if I ever got in a taxi or in an Uber or anything, in a black cab, I had to text a registration number. He had to know where I was at all times. But he wanted it on the burner phone. He didn't want it on his, like, me sharing my location on his phone, because then that could be tracked.
Of course.
He was very smart as well. Sometimes I think to myself, like, he could have been in the armed forces or something, like, just because of how mind manipulating he was, using the sleep deprivation and all of that kind of stuff and the tactics that he did, and then breaking me down. But then, you know, he would just always, when he was abusing me, be like, "Oh, you know nothing. Like, I was raped as a child, like, with my mum as a prostitute and all this." And I'm just thinking, bro, have I met Ted Bundy? Like, do you know what I mean? I'm like, bro, like, because a lot of the psychopaths, their mums are fucking prostitutes, aren't they? And I'm thinking, when he starts saying this stuff to me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, the more I was thinking, but then I'm like, I didn't know if any of it was a lie anyway.
Well, because your whole reality is distorted.
I don't know anything. And obviously, like, I'm walking down the streets looking, thinking the Illuminati are watching me.
Of course you
are.
So
I'm on edge all the time. I'm literally walking in survival, like, mode all the time. Like, I hear a cat, I'm like this, like, literally. And obviously my mum and dad noticed that something's going on, but I never really went back home. And he knew that I didn't, because I was living in London anyway. And I never really went home anyway. My dad didn't know what industry I was in. He was aware of all of this stuff. Like, so he was literally like, he used to make out that he knew all my family and everything. Like, it was just a total mind fuck what he used to do. And I remember I had this lady that came, this one lady, and it's crazy because we made up our alias names, like, for when we was doing the sex work. And she was like, "I'm gonna call myself Angel, and when I tell you that woman was my angel," like, she was she wasn't like I don't want to call it a Bible bash, but she wasn't an extremist into God, but she would always have a Bible, and she would always be like, speaking certain verses to me, and she would say, we would talk about certain things, and I guess she came a bit like a mother figure to me. Like, she had young girls, and she was the one person that would actually tell me what Steve was doing. And she'd be like, "Did you take money off me?" And I was like, "What?" She was like, "Steve said that you took money from me." Because before, what he would do is put us all in isolated rooms, and we weren't allowed to talk to each other.
Right.
So no one was communicating what was going on, and everyone was seeing each other as the enemy. And if we spoke, and then, so say if someone spoke to me, I'm going to go and tell Steve.
Yeah.
And then I'm knowing if I tell someone something, they're going to go and tell Steve, because everyone's loyally lied with Steve.
Yeah.
Because he was either beating you, or he was giving you the verbal diarrhea bullshit. Like, you were in a different phase, you know, everyone was in a different phase of realising who Steve was, and every single one was either very charming or it was very scary. So, you know, no one was talking either way. So she was the first person to basically talk to me and basically ask me questions. And I was like, that doesn't add up. I was like, I would never take money off you. Like, what are you on about? Like, literally. And then I realised that he was trying to get to her daughters. And obviously something kicked in me, and I literally said to her, I was like, "Listen," I was like, something's going on here. Like, and she, bless her, like, honestly, like, I remember she ended up leaving, and even till this day we still speak. Do you know what I mean? She's a good woman, like, and I haven't actually like deeped everything with her, and I would love to be fair, but in her time as well, because at the same time, like, she didn't go for any abuse, but she met Steve and she realized that she could have ended up with a product of being me, but also her kids were in the firing line. Do you know what I mean? And she's a single mum. Like, it's just the impact that he had. Like, he would have had a mental impact on her. Now, obviously, this guy he was that satanic. Like, I had it removed now, but he made me brand myself with 666 on my finger. Like, I was basically Satan's whore, he called me.
Oh my God.
Like, it was mad, babe. Like, so obviously that's the reason, that's why I forgot to mention it, and I mentioned it now because Angel was the one who was like, what's that on your finger? And she knew about the Illuminati, and I went, oh, it's just my stamp. She went, your stamp? I was like, oh, it's just, just like, because I didn't want to say I was in a cult. I wanted to be, because I didn't think I was in a cult. I was like, I'm just in a community, like, and this is my stamp. And she was like, she knew straight away. She's like, oh, okay. And I remember when I got out, she told me that's why I stayed, because I seen that stamp on your hand and I knew that you were in danger. Oh. Like, and honestly, like, till this day, like, I pray over that woman and her kids, because she literally just broke a seal. Do you know what I mean? It was like the water breaking through the mountain. It didn't cause the river yet, and it didn't crumble, but it got cracked, and she was very determined with it. And she'd always, like, I think she was only there for a few months, but she had a massive impact on me.
And thank God for her.
Babe, honestly, my saving grace. My saving grace. And then what she did, because I was allowed out for my birthday one year, I ended up meeting Ma, and I get emotional because Ma's my partner who I'm with now, and I met Ma through Angel, and we went out to the gay scene in Birmingham, I remember. And it's so crazy because not only did I have the stamp, but I was throwing up all the signs. Now, there's a lot of signs in the Illuminati as well. And he told me I've got to make sure that I'm doing all these signs and these signals to let people know that you're a member. Do you know what I mean? So there's fucking... I've literally said to my mates, I'm like, take that picture down. Yeah. You know what could... Like, obviously, I'm not... I hate to call them conspiracy theorists because there's more facts than theories when it comes to that. But obviously, if someone's seen that picture of me, I'd be like... And I'm talking about it now, they're like, oh, she's still a member. I'm like, mate, that was when I was in that place, and being abused. I'm being told, like, he would literally play songs backwards. So that's how I knew there was certain songs, like the Lucifer song from Jay-Z. It says if you play it backwards, it goes murder, murder, Jesus. And then if you play back some of Rihanna's songs, it goes I'm a whore, Satan's whore. Like, and he was obviously trying to glamorize it to me, like, that look at all these stars that are involved, these are all part of it. Like, he would literally, like, break things down to me and tell me these people are involved and this is why. And I'd be like, okay, like, so I was just, but I'm still like, I was a yes woman. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just, but
like, you're controlled. There's no,
to the full extent.
You are so controlled. This isn't being a yes woman.
This is mind control, babe.
This is mind control. You're not being a yes woman. You are being controlled.
Like, I honestly, like, think about things like MK Ultra, and I think about things like how they drug induced them first to get them into a state of fragility so that they could easily impact their brain. And all I think about is, because of my drug of choice being the coke, it was always the time when he was pushing the narrative of it would always be a satanic narrative. And like I said, the abuse was always in the name of his God. I remember him being like, going like this at one point, be like, he's watching, like, and I'm like, literally like, oh my God, I'm going to die right now.
Of course, you must have genuinely believed that.
I remember my best friend, bless her, the one that ended up getting sectioned, she came to the house when she was involved, and I remember him, that's when he made me be like, because she called the police, bless her, and the police turned up, and obviously then he panics, and he was like, because before that he was beating the shit out of me, like, because he was beating me in front of her, and then she's gone to get him, and he slapped her, and then he's pulled me by the hair to the point where my hair's pulled out in a clump, slung me across the floor. So that's when she's called the police, and like they send the unit round. when he sent it round, he's gone to me, listen, your dad's got a gun, like, at the door right now. And if you do not say that nothing's been happening with us, I said, he's going to die. So I'm literally like, what the fuck? The police come and I'm like, no, nothing's happened. Like, nothing's happened. Like, and she's like screaming, going, he's a fucking psycho. She don't give a fuck. Like, I love my best friend. Like, she's Scottish, mate. She's feisty as fuck. Like, you don't fuck with her. Like, but I'm so glad because she was there at the start and she was there towards the end as well. And she knew me because we used to work on Babe Station together. Yeah. So she knew me before. So she knew Sam then. She seen Sam when she was coming in and she seen Sam at the end and she was like, something ain't right here.
Yeah.
And then she witnessed it. She witnessed what he was like. And that's when she was like, whoa. But at the time, just like every other victim of his, they blamed me because they seeing that I was the one at the start going, he's the best guy ever.
Yeah.
He's going to help us all. Look what he's doing to me. And even introducing him to certain people as my manager.
Yeah.
Like, literally, Verena Twig thought that guy was my manager. Like, literally. So, when I got towards the end, and I ended up going out for my birthday and with Angel, and we went to Gales in Birmingham Gay Town. And it's so funny because at the time my girlfriend had a girlfriend. So I met my girlfriend for the first time, but I didn't actually know that she would be my girlfriend. It was her best friend at the time who I ended up getting really close with, and she ended up living with me. Now, Steve was still there at this point. And that girl ended up meeting Steve and he tried to fuck her so hard, like, because she wasn't a sex worker girl. She was just like, she was a pretty butch lesbian, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So he was like, okay, I'll tell you what then, you can be Sam's security. So I then ended up paying this girl to come away with me to be my security whilst I was working. And while I was with her, I'll be honest with you, like, I started to feel a bit normal. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, it was like she was having normal conversations with me. She played a guitar, like, she lived at house. And then Mara, like, she would speak to Mara and, you know, we was having a bit of a normal, like, kind of, I don't know, like, it was just like a friendship. Do you know what I mean? But then, obviously, I was paying her. And but that was all his doing. That had nothing to do with her. And obviously at the point, like, she's thinking, oh, you know, I'm helping Sam and I'm going around and I'm doing this. But then when she seen what was going on, she was like, what is going on here, Sam? Like, and she was asking questions. And I was like, no, we don't ask questions. Because that was the thing. Like, I was never allowed to question. Yeah. If I questioned, then that would mean that I was disrespecting my man. So I'm not allowed to question anything. So that's another thing that reminds me of Andrew Tate. He's always like, my bitch, he has a bottom bitch. I was the bottom bitch. I was the one in line. And that's what I mean about this guy. Like, I'm not saying he's a satanic ritual guy. I'm just saying he was a straight up pimp. I'm never, ever gonna say and idolize someone who has done the same exact process as my pimp. Yeah. Like, so when I met this lady who come and lived with me, Angel had gone. She was out of the situation. She was away from Steve and I was still there. And then Mara ends up breaking up with her girlfriend. So then Ma comes to my house and then we ended up, I don't know, it was never meant, we never thought that we'd end up getting together. Like, do you know what I mean? It was never meant to be like that. But my first girlfriend who I was with, when I was with Steve, when I was in that situation, she was a heroin addict. So it was very easy for him to turn me on her. Yeah. Because she basically used to go and get her drugs and get me samples of drugs. Right. So in a way, she was doing something that was bad. Yeah. He can't talk because he was doing the exact same thing anyway. But he then made it out that she was trying to get me on heroin and all she was doing was getting me the samples of the drugs. Yeah. And then he even made out she was lacing it and whatever, like, but it was just very easy to get her away. Whereas Ma was working at Mackey's. She hates me saying that. She was doing a university degree. You know, she wasn't doing anything that was out of like context in regards to just being normal and just like, you know, being she was a good girl. She still is a good girl. She's a very, very good girl. And
Aw.
I know, babe. And the sad thing is that, like, she seen me at my ugliest. Like, my skin was horrible. Like, my teeth, I remember my teeth were all brown just because of the drug abuse and me constantly smoking.
Yeah.
And then, like, like, all of just everything. Like, I remember I was just sat there, I used to pick my skin constantly. It was like the form of self-abuse, but my anxiety as well. So I'd constantly pick myself, like, and even to this day, she went, when you were sat there with no wig on, and you just sat there in the corner with your frail self. She went, that's when I knew I loved you.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, I guess love was what helped me to break free.
Yes, it absolutely is the greatest power in
I
this
know,
world.
it's so powerful, Ella. And literally, yeah. So it was like a bit of a thing at the start, and because I was still being exploited, what he said was, obviously he met Ma as well, and he knew there was nothing she could do, and he knew there was a potential she'd go to the police because of who she was.
Yeah.
So because I was then spending more time, because when I was away, she was like, right, come and stay with me then. And she was at uni, so I go and stay in her dorm. And Steve could see there was less time being spent with Steve than her. I mean, less time with him, and more time with her.
Yeah.
And that was when I started to be able to think more for myself, because I could have questions.
Yeah.
I could have space. I was in a safe space. And Ma was asking questions too. And it wasn't like she was the other girl who was the best friend where I dismissed. Like, she had ended up becoming my partner. So I wanted to speak truth with this girl. I wasn't having any like hidden things with her. I wanted our relationship to be based on truth. So I said to her, and she was like, well, who is Steve? And I was like, oh, he's my friend. He's my protector. Like, he looks after me. She's like, why are you giving him money? I couldn't answer.
Yeah.
I was like, for protection of who? Like, she would just ask these questions. I'd be like, I don't know. I just don't know. She's like, well, don't you think you should know? Because, like, obviously, like, she's seen I'm living in this house. I can barely afford to pay my rent, but I'm making a lot of money because she knows that I'm going away to do this. So in her head, she's like, what is going, like, things just aren't adding up. And I remember him sitting down with us and being like, I tell you what, on Valentine's Day, making it all like it was fucking special. Like, what, you won't escort another day in your life. You're just going to do webcam, Sam. What did Tate do? Webcam.
Yeah.
So where did my money go from webcam to this man? So it was another form of trafficking. And that's another thing, guys. Like, you might think you might be chatting to a girl on webcam and you're all, like, you know, involved. And there is a lot of girls that are out there that are doing their own individual thing. But there is also a lot of girls that are out there that are being trafficked on this site, on these websites.
They do not want to do it. A lot of them. We can't speak for the ones that do.
No, of course.
But we know there are girls that are in the same situation that you are in.
And they're being trafficked through webcam. So obviously then, in the space of a few months, because it was the webcam money, it wasn't as much as the brassing money, because the money is just totally different. So the targets went down. So I'm buzzing, but then I'm realising I'm not earning as much money anyway.
Yeah.
So, but the fact that I didn't have to meet him as much, and when I was meeting him, I remember one of the last times I did meet him, and he tried to force me to do that again, like to go, like he used to call it sorting him out. So he tried to force me to do that, and I remember breaking down crying because I was with Ma. I was like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, don't worry. And that was I was so scared to say I don't want to do it, but that was the first time that he didn't abuse me for saying something that wasn't right.
Do you think it's because he knew that Mara would?
He knew, because if I'm going to go somewhere with a black eye or with a bust up lip,
he's going to get into trouble.
She's going to be like, where the fuck have you got that from? Like, and she's going to know that like it's from him. Like she would have known, because the thing was is that we used to speak every day on Skype where I was away anyway. So our relationship was built via cam anyway. It was so cute. In our 10-year anniversary, anniversary book, she was like she like writ out our whole story, and at the start it was like, we used to have a relationship through webcam, and I was like, honestly, it's so sweet. And the day came where she said, Sam, you need to ask him why you're giving him money, because I couldn't afford to pay my rent. And she was like, you need to sort this out. This isn't right. Because I was still earning about like 1 to 2K a week from the webcam, because I was constantly on. Then I was on 2 different websites. I was like, boom, 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 like trying to do as much as I could. But I just wasn't making ends meet. And then I lent money off my dad. And that was the point where she was like, no, you need to ask him why you're giving him money now. I want to know. And I was like, okay. So I basically was never allowed to call him directly. I had to call this guy called Pete, who used to run us around everywhere. And I called Pete. And as soon as I called Pete, within seconds I had a call, because I never, ever did that. And he knew something wasn't right. He was like, right, okay. He was like, are you okay? I was like, I remember pacing up and down my living room. I was like, no. I was like, I need to ask a question. And and he was like, okay. And obviously, because usually I was never allowed to ask questions. And when he said, okay, I was like, oh my God. I was like, why am I giving you money? And he just literally switched the narrative. Yeah. He turned around, he went, listen, Sam. He went, everything I've done is for you. He tried to make out that he made Ma there. He was like, everything I've done, he went, I've made sure that you're protected. He went, I know we've been through bad times. He went, but it could have been worse. And you best believe it could have been worse. He went, I have done everything. Making out, he's like this Prince Charming of the situation. And he's like, now I've left you with the biggest gift ever. Go and enjoy your life. He went, but first he went, I want another 600 quid. Like literally asked for like another 600 quid. I was like, I can't. I have no money. I cannot do it. And he went, okay. And that was the last.
He pushed his luck.
Oh my God, literally. Because it was like a Ponzi scheme, babe. Like I wouldn't be surprised. So basically I'm out. I'm away from Steve, yeah. And obviously this is where I'm like, now I'm addicted to drugs. I'm traumatized up to my eyeballs. And I get a police note through the door about 2 weeks, around 2 weeks, yeah, because it wasn't long, because I remember it happening and being like, fuck that. Like, because I got a police note through the door. And that police note said, contact me. We need to speak to you. But I forgot to say, the one of the biggest fears that Steve always pushed into me was that he killed his son for grassing on him to the police. Right. So if we was ever to get approached, any of the girls, by the police,
you'd be dead.
Basically, that's what he was saying in a nutshell. I've killed my son, so don't think I won't kill you. Yeah. So I thought it was a test, because he always used to test us. And I was like, oh my God, there's a thing through the door. It's him. And I said to Mom, put it in the bin. I said, I'm not going to do it. I said, no. And then I get a call from the survivor who had originally gone to the police. And she went, Sam, I need your help. Aww. And that was when I was like, fuck. I was like, okay. So she said that she had tried to go to the police before, bless her. And she'd been dismissed. Because obviously when we talk about the stuff that we talk about, you know, this guy that we met, and he's talking about incest and paedophilia and tunnels and Illuminati. Yeah. The police are like, yeah, all right, of course, yeah.
Like, and also, in some areas, some police are also involved
part
in that.
of it, I know. So obviously this young girl, bless her, because she was one of the minors that was involved, she was like, she'd gone to the police, and the police lady basically was like, oh, really? Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah.
Really?
Like, really. And in the interview, you hear a huff through her interview, like, going, okay, yeah. Like, as in, like, time watching, do you know what I mean? Like, and then, babe, honestly, and you know what's the mad thing, though? It's God's timing, because if she would have come when, at that point, at the time where she went to the first police officer, if she would have come at that time, I would have had so much Stockholm syndrome. I would have sided with Steve.
Absolutely, I hear you.
There's no way you would have made me go against this man. It come at the point, at the perfect point, that this is honestly my connection to God. I'm not religious, but my connection to God, literally. And there was another point as well, like, that happened. I think it was another psychosis, but I was going to commit suicide, because there was many times I thought about it, but there was one point where I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do this. and I was going to jump off a balcony and I was just going to end my life because he was like going on psycho and he'd just gone to the toilet. So I was like, right, I'm going to go. And then something said to me, and I still think it's God to this day, said to me, don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to be okay.
Wow.
And obviously it was a few months after that. I was still in the situation anyway. So obviously I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but you don't have to be religious to know there's a higher voice, a higher power.
God is so real.
Yeah.
God, from the grace of God is why I've been saved. Like 1% of people get out of being human trafficked. I am that 1%.
Yeah, you are.
Like I am literally in that 1%. And that's why I know I've got to speak. Like
you have.
I have to put a voice to the voiceless people who can't speak, and all the victims who were involved with Stephen McCrystal, who he fucked up. Like some of these people were so close to me, like, and it's ruined, like some people, like he tried to ruin so many people's lives. So anyway, she round her troops, I round my troops, like, and honestly, it was like an Epstein thing, man, because there was I think there's about 7 or 8 of us. Then we went to the Crown Court in Birmingham, and we got that motherfucker put in prison.
Well done, because that takes. I don't think anyone understands
how hard.
That is unbelievably brave, strong, all those things you never want to have to be in those circumstances. But thank God for girls like you that are willing to put yourself forward.
Thank God for the fucking young girl that did it first, because if she didn't do it, it wouldn't have happened. Do you know what I mean? I only fucking put my big girl pants on because she was like, I need you.
But you did it all the same.
I know. She was the girl that was pimping me out as well. And I knew at that point, like, I was like, nah, like, I know that wasn't you that was doing that to me. And the same reason she knows that me speaking highly of this guy was not me. Do you know what I mean? I was never... And I was never bloody getting any money off anyone. I was having all my money taken off me. And then I was... and it just looked awful because he was like, give these drugs to her, take this money from her. So I'm looking like I'm the fucking one who's getting all this shit, and it's nothing to do with me because it's him. He's orchestrating everything. And like I said, I was the bottom bitch, knew her place, literally, like I was like on autopilot. Yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, like just literally like yes, just for pure fear of what could have happened to me and my family. So we got him put in prison. He got found guilty of forced prostitution, which is human trafficking, and then got found guilty of rape, and it was of not just me, but of the minor as well, and forced prostitution of some of the other girls that were involved. And I mean, he only got 8.5 years, which is
profoundly disappointing. But it's the justice system. It needs to be
revamped. Yeah,
it's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
It's outdated. It's ridiculous. And obviously, like, I now, and the worst thing about it is he got out on 4 years on good behaviour. Good behaviour. So,
that's all right then. You've been a good boy in prison, so go out and do it all over again.
Do you know what I'm saying? So basically, he got out in lockdown, and that's why. So between him going to prison, so when he was in prison, I ended up I joined the biggest human rights organisation in the world, Amnesty International. I was working for them for a long time. I was campaigning to stop FGM, child marriage. And the reason that I went with them, because after I actually got out of the situation, although I need to be honest, like, I was still in the industry because I didn't know any different.
Well, you had to survive.
Make money. I still had to make money. My rent was a lot of money because I'd still got a nice place where I was, like, and I was literally in Brindley Place in Birmingham, which is a nice place. So I still had bills to pay. And it was still all I knew. So I ended up going back on the webcam. I ended up being a dominatrix because I totally started to hate men. So I was like, I want to kick these guys in the bollocks for money. Like, but then even my conscience kicked in because I started doing financial domination, and this guy lost his job because of something I made him do. I should laugh. That is so bad. I should laugh. It's only because these pay pigs, they're fucking crazy. Like, and they want you to get them to do things where they put them in pain. Again, this could be due to the adult industry pushing them to this debauchery and BDSM and stuff. And then he lost his job as a PE teacher because he basically ended up tying his balls to his ankle, and he was doing this, and obviously then he's ended up tearing his Achilles heel.
Oh
but
my God.
He wanted to still give me money, and I was like, no, Slave Dave, like I can't do it.
Yeah.
So then he just lost all interest in me, because as soon as you say no as a findom, their erection goes down, and they're like, because they want to go, their whole thing is that they want to go broke for you.
Yeah.
So I started to do that, and then I went back to another babe station, which was called Sin TV. And that was I don't know what was going on there, but that was crazy. That something happened there. I think they were money laundering and using that show, because they had a big load of money and they were throwing it all at us, and then no one were getting paid for weeks, and we all had to fuck off. So I was like, right, I'm not going in this, I'm not going on babe station no more, fuck that. And then I started to like do, I ended up being on a webcam documentary on BBC Three, because I was doing webcam. And then I literally, I don't know what it was, babe, but when I literally was looking for another job, because I wanted to just be normal, I was trying to find the best paid job without a degree. So I ended up going into promo work, selling like shots in clubs. And then I ended up getting stopped on the street by a fundraiser, and they were like, do you like the government? I was like, no. And they were like, do you believe children should get married? I was like, no. And they were like, what do you think about having rights over your own body? I was like, I agree. Like, and this guy I signed up for Amnesty International, and I was like, how do you do this job? I was like, how do you get this job? He was like, you can get this job. And at the time it was paying £12 an hour. So I was like, do you know what? I was like, I can do this. Like, I can stop people on the street. Like, and I can, because I was really into the whole human rights aspect of it. Because I realised at that point, my human rights had been taken away from me. I didn't have a right over my own body. I was literally a slave. Like, I was like, I didn't have the right of move of freedom, like, because I was being told where to go and what to do. There were so many of my human rights that were infringed. And I realised then that I wanted to help others get their human rights. So I was like, right, okay. So I started working for Amnesty International, started doing a bit of promo work, started to work at the weekend, because I had been left in a shitload of debt, like, from the situation, babe. I'd got out overdrafts, I got out loans, because all to make sure this man got paid on time. Do you know what I mean? So because if I didn't have that, I never not got that money. Just know that I never, ever not got that money. Whenever he said $5,000 a week, boom. And you can imagine, because there was one point where he was telling me, you have to sleep with guys bareback. But when he got in for, you know, at the start, he was trying to make me do it. And I was like, I don't want to do that. By the end, you best believe I had to do that. And he was degrading me to as little as £50 an hour. So you can imagine how fucking many men I had to go. I was literally like it was so sad, babe. Like, and that's the thing, like, I have had to do like so much womb healing and shit. Like,
oh God, I bet you have.
But luckily, they say you have a whole cell renewal after 7 years.
They do.
So luckily, I've been with my missus 14 years now. So the only person who's got the cells of me now is her. So everyone else who did have me back in the day, that's dead. I'm gone. And that died with me.
You're the butterfly.
Yeah, and then from Amnesty International, I then set up my own social enterprise, which was Diamond You Projects, which essentially prevents child exploitation within the youth sector. And I then wanted to start going into prisons, but I never made it that far. I just started to mentor young people. I started to work with councils. I started to do talks around human trafficking, prevention, exploitation and grooming. I then started to create education for parents so they could understand about online grooming. And like Diamond You Projects really like helped me to heal just by feeling like I was being the change, you know?
Yes.
And then I started to work, it's so annoying. I started to work with this I do want to touch on this as well, Ella, because I got conned again by this organisation called Project Rescue Children.
Right.
So in lockdown, I really wanted to start helping more with the kids, and I started to speak up a lot. So I joined this charity, what I thought was a legit charity called Project Rescue Children. only to find out the guy was Google reversing images of African kids, making out he was rescuing kids from human trafficking, and all he done was Google an image and put them up online. He was making money off dead children. Like, he basically was saying the rescue centres were full of kids when all he was doing was getting kids from the neighbouring village to come in. He has had, I can say, easily 1 million. Like, he must have had over 1 million, because when we joined the organisation, we was all pushing for him.
Yeah.
I was going to walk up Mount Snowdon for the organisation. And then one of my best friends, Alex Rose, she was like one of the big ambassadors for it. She started to realise there was a few leaks and holes in places. God. And she was the one, basically, she took her out to the Gambia, and he asked her to adopt this baby. It was a fake fucking adoption. The kid, he made up some fabricated story about the kid being dropped off in a bag by human traffickers, and then him coming and being the saviour Grace, yeah? Literally, like the epiphany of white saviour, babe. Like, I'm not even joking.
My God.
Going into all of these African places, in India, the Philippines, all of these countries, setting up different charities in each different place. This has been a full expose. Like, literally, the guy's been attacking me, calling me a fake survivor online. I've had to, like, bring up all of my court documents and everything to show. Like, literally, like, my liaison officer, like, I was like, can I post this just to show people that, you know, you're my officer? She's like, yeah, it's fine. Like, and they were like, I literally made reports to him, to the police, but because he's in Australia, he used to work for the Met Police as well, by the way.
Oh, that's what I said about 10 minutes ago. They're often in the police.
The thing is, though, I have to say this, like, the police lady that dealt with our case after that horrific lady before, I want to say her name, yeah, Katrina Sands. Like, honestly, I just feel like she's an angel. Yeah. Like, and if every police officer was like her.
Well, there's good and bad in everything. This is the problem.
There is, babe, there is. But that lady, she deserves a fucking, like, a Nobel Prize, mate, because she literally, if it wasn't for her, I definitely wouldn't have gone to court, because I didn't believe that anyone would believe me. Yeah. Because that's what he always said, no one's going to believe you, Sam. Who the fuck's going to believe you? You sound like a crazy bitch. Like, literally, like, pushing that, no one's going to listen to me, no one's going to believe me. And that's why it does hurt sometimes when people be like, oh, like, you know, try and find holes in my story or whatever. I'm just like, leave it out, mate. Like, you have no idea.
The pain.
Because now this man is walking the streets, babe. So now this man is out of prison. So imagine this, yeah? This guy was a poker player. That's where a lot of our money was going. So he had a family in a high rise. He literally lived, like, in Birmingham with a family, kids, everything. And he's coming out, like, and this is why, like, people say, oh, well, Andrew Tate was nice to me, or someone of a psychopathic nature was nice to me. You best believe they got faces, you know.
Yeah.
He's not going to go home and beat the crap out of his wife and his kids, yeah? When he's coming to us telling him he's Satan, he's got split personality. He's going from one thing to the other. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they do. So, like, imagine this. I was working for Amnesty, and then I ended up randomly, because, like, I was like, oh, I need an extra hustle on the side. I ended up randomly doing, I got a massage therapist course, because I wanted to start doing some healing with massage. God knows how I ended up in the bloody race courses, but I ended up in race courses. The race courses then went to the casinos. The casinos then ended up in the private games. I end up around poker. Now, babe, like, when I tell you poker saved my life, and it's fucking give me all my money back that he took from me. Literally, that guy took $250,000 off me minimum, by the way, like, over the 3.5 years. God. I've been thriving in that industry, like, and I really, again, believe that it's karmic. So for the past, like, 8 years now, I've been involved in poker. So I do poker tournaments around the world internationally. I fly out to Dubai, Vegas.
This was planned for earlier on.
Yeah, and I had to cancel.
Yeah, because you get these. I had no idea.
So Bahamas, Barcelona, Monte Carlo. Like, I have been probably this year alone 15 places throughout the year, and I basically go, and they have these big poker tournaments like they do in Vegas. Everyone pays their ticket price, which is anything. I mean, I've worked now for some of the most top echelons in poker. Probably all the people that he wanted to be around, which is so ironic. It's just perfect karma because I'm around all these people now. There's a lot of very affluent people. I've had to sign NDAs because of the celebrities and stuff I'm around. But best believe, like I have had the most amazing experience in poker. And what the best thing about it is he ended up trying to change he changed his name to Dan Cooper. And I only know that because I've did interviews and one of the poker players saw me on Sean Atwood's thing, and he messages me. I'm in Blackpool at the time at the GUKPT. He messages me. He goes, "I'm really sorry to message you. I just want to let you know that Steve's in Walsall Casino." Walsall was round the corner from where I lived, like at the time. And he's changed his name to Dan Cooper. Mm-hmm. And I was like, because he always used to say, "I'm 5 steps ahead, Sam." And I was like, I'm 5 steps ahead.
Yes.
So this man, bless his soul, goes to the cash desk and says, "You need to know who this guy is. He's a convicted felon and he's a paedophile and you need to get him out, and he's a human trafficker, get him out." So now he's banned from all Grosvenor Casino. Everyone knows because I'm constantly telling everyone, Dan Cooper is his name. So now, and as well, I just want to share this because now I'm involved with something called Della's Law. So I just want to show that because this was something that I really needed to get involved in. Della's an amazing lady. She's been trying to get a law changed so sex offenders can't change their name.
Wow.
So now I'm involved with campaigning with her. So now if he wants to try and change his name again from Dan Cooper, you ain't got no chance, mate. Because this law I have had a part of putting in, and he best believe, that I have not finished with him. He's going to be the one that's going to be scared to walk the streets. Yeah. People are going to know his face everywhere. People are going to know his name. I'm never going to stop talking. Good. And I hope you're watching this right now, mate, because you are never going to silence me. Like, you tried so hard. And that is the biggest message that I want to put out there to survivors is that don't be silent. Don't sit in shame.
It's my post
guilt.
Today, Sam.
You're joking.
Honestly, my post today is about
I love your post.
It says that it's on my feed today, and it's saying, "Do not stay silent."
Your voice is so needed.
So is yours.
Yeah, and this is what I want to tell survivors out there. Like, do not think that you don't matter because these people have tried to make you feel this small. Because
we. And many, many others like us really care.
Yes, babe. Like, I want to stop anyone from experiencing the pain and trauma that I've had to go through. Like, I don't think any decent human being needs to go through that. Because
never.
I just want to warn people about the wolves in sheep's clothing because it could be your best friend. It could be your partner. Like, I met women that were being trafficked by their own husband. Like, there was people, the homeless women on the streets, the heroin addicts. They are the ones on the dark web. Like, they are them kids.
Yeah, they are.
They are them kids. And instead of judging the homeless person, judging the crackhead. Like, I now volunteer like at the homeless shelter every Christmas. Just because heart. Like,
they need it.
Yeah, and I literally go in there and I speak to some of them. I don't expose too much, but I just want to let them know that I understand, and I've been there. Like, I've not been homeless, but I've been in a place where I felt like I had no home. Yeah. And I was seconds away from the streets because best believe he wanted to put me on that streets. He wanted me, he always put me around the heroin addicts, and now I realise why. Because I was this close to taking it. He was projecting about my ex-girlfriend because that's what he wanted to do me. Like, if I ended up and he never wanted to push it on me, he wanted me to take it voluntarily, and I know he did. That's why he always put me around these girls and give it to me so that I was looking at it and I was around it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was definitely trying to lure
he wanted
you over.
me gone. He wanted me to, because obviously the average life expectancy of a human trafficking survivor is 7 years. Obviously I don't know if I would have lasted 7 years because it was 3.5 years and I definitely died multiple times inside. Like, my soul was just gone. I was just this moving object at one point that didn't know how I would ever get out.
And you know what? I mean, we're listening to this story, and unfortunately, you know, there are many more stories like yours
So
out there.
many, I know.
And it's so hard to hear. And it's so hard to watch you be so hurt by it still. But
I just hate him, but and I really don't want to use that word because I don't want him to have power over me.
No, but you're allowed. You've got to get out. You
know.
Can't keep that in. You've got to get it out.
I've been to that rage room where I'm smashing everything out. Your face, you pig man. This is a healthy way to get it out. Do you know what I mean?
You've got to.
I've had a lot of healing. Like, I've had to go through a lot. Like, I still had drug dependency, like, after what happened to me, and I had to go through drug counselling. I had to go through therapy. I had the CBT, you know. I had to go to a specific therapist for satanic ritual abuse. Yeah. And that's why it does my head when people be like, oh, that doesn't happen. I'm like, no, are you all right?
It like, really does.
Organisations that are specifically for this.
Honestly, it's so widespread. And I don't want to say, I don't know what the statistics are. I probably should find out before we put this episode out. But it's so widespread. It's happening in places you don't expect it to happen.
No, babe, in churches, in bloody, you're like your next door neighbours, like, you just don't, like, look at cults, mate, like, look at the FDL cult, like, that was going on in a whole, like, community of Amish people, like.
I know, I mean, that's what I mean, and also, you talked about the trafficking, sometimes, and I'm working with people, a particular person at the minute, where they're trafficked by their own mother and father.
Yes, 100%. This is a thing.
It's a real thing. And we're not talking about a little bit of like, okay, we'll share it amongst friends. We're talking thousands of people.
People are being born for that purpose.
Yeah, they are. They
are being born to be sex slaves.
And they think, and this is the saddest bit of it, and I have to say this because I don't know if you went through this, I'm pretty sure you did. I think we all do as sex abuse survivors. But what is so hard for me to hear, and it's one of the reasons that I wanted you on, is these girls and boys that have been in this situation, they believe that it's them that's dirty.
I know,
they believe it's
so
them that's wrong. I mean, honestly, the way that they think, well, I can't be a good person. I can't be a remarkable person. I can't be an amazingly strong person because I'm the one that they chose. Broken, they chose me, so I'm the problem because I'm the reflection of the devil because they chose me. So what does that say about me? It says I'm rotten to core. That's what they believe.
They push that on us though, and that's the thing. Like, you need to understand, if it wasn't you, sweetie, it's going to be someone else because all they're looking for is vulnerable people.
Yes, it's got nothing to do with.
It's like a cattle meat market. It's like one in, one out, one in, one out. And I seen it with Steve, like Dan Cooper. We know you. Like, literally, like, I seen it with him. Like, and how he was like, these people, like, they don't see you as a human being, and they don't see people as human beings anyway. They see you as a commodity. What can I get out of you? How are you going to benefit me? And I guess we live in a lot of that in our society today with the narcissistic traits that are so prominent. Like, but I'm solid with you on this, babe. Like, I have been able to turn my life around, like, and literally, like, I got myself out of 40 grand's worth of debt twice. Yeah, I've got myself off an addiction, a coke addiction for someone with a neurodivergent brain like mine who's constantly seeking. Like, I literally went back to the sex industry and got myself out. I am now in a position where I've got multiple properties, I've got a business, I've got a social enterprise, I'm doing policy change, I am out here. I'm not amazing. A victim, mate. So are you, babe, like, honestly, like, and I think when I align with people like you, I realise, like, I've always been a good person.
Always. You were always.
These people, you think that they're going for the bad, they're not. They want the smart people. They want I am honestly so good with people, and he knew that.
Yeah.
He knew that people would trust me. Like, and I am so, even to when I was a kid, like, and even now as an adult, like, I have a skill about me where I can bring a group of people together. And that's why I ended up as a team leader in Amnesty in like 4 months or something, because they could see I could bring a team together and I could be like, let's fucking go. Like, do you know what I mean? And I have that about me, and that's why I've done so well in the poker, because I understand people, but then I started,
psychology.
I love it, and I love neuroscience, and but that's the thing, I don't use it for ill intent.
No, you don't.
These people do, and they're very smart as well, and that's why my mission now is to get people to understand, and it sounds really cliche, but love themselves so that someone else doesn't put a price on who they are for them.
Yeah.
Because when you give the power to someone else, you don't know what it is that they want. Luckily now, I'm like I said, I've been with my missus 14 years. Like, she's an amazing person. Like, I'm so lucky because now, you know, she's a professional boxer.
Yeah.
She is not into any of that drug life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got such a solid foundation. We've rescued 2 dogs. Like, you know, we're looking now to plan a family together. And we've got investments, we've got assets, like, you know, and from someone who was making the money they was in the adult industry and didn't have a fucking clue about finances and went down that road, to be the person that I am today with the cognitive ability, the financial intelligence, the emotional intelligence, and just sat here being like, do you know what? Like, that situation does not define me.
No, it doesn't.
That is so powerful, babe. And I
yeah.
think that's what we should do as survivors, is take our power back.
Yeah. And show others how to do it. And the reason I say that, we can never do that in one podcast episode.
No.
But what we can do is we lead by example.
100%.
What we can do is we keep using our voice.
What
we can do is keep sharing love between each other.
And stepping up. Like,
stepping up.
Yeah, babe, showing in society who you can be, because unfortunately now we're fighting the forces of evil.
Yeah, we are.
And other people are on the other side of it. And you know, not everyone's bad who's in the industry. Like, please understand that. Like, and everyone who consumes porn is not bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like all we are is victims of society.
Yes.
And that's what I want people to realise, is that they're preying on us, and they do it with the media, with everything that they do now. They want us to fight each other. They want us to turn on each other. They are adamant that they're going to segregate us through race, religion, sexuality, all of it. Listen, we all shit and it stinks. We all cut and bleed red blood. The only difference is good and bad. That is it, good and bad.
And you know that, sorry to butt in on that
point,
but there were times in your life, had you have had a bit more of a safe container growing up, I feel like there's times in your life when your intuition was loud, but
I ignored them red flags.
Exactly. And that is my message, right? And I say it so often: never ever ignore the intuition, the red flags.
The gut
is the strongest. Massive. And I'll say this to you, right? There's people like you out there on Instagram. There's people like me on Instagram. Now, I am not able to use my Instagram to save every soul.
No, we can't
I would
either.
say, no, and we shouldn't even try, because it's
we're not about savior complex. I used to have that messiah complex, you know.
And you can't do that.
Stop human trafficking. I am never going to stop that.
We cannot do that.
I've admitted that.
But we put out information
that could prevent.
That prevents, and it leads to the right places, like your organisations, the organisations that you're aligned with, the people that we all know, where we can now signpost you.
Yes,
and of course, there's always the Samaritans. I always say this.
Yeah, the Samaritans are amazing.
You have
and Women's Aid as well.
And Women's Aid,
I volunteered for them. They're so good with their chat line. Like, they were one of the first organisations I volunteered for. But it's funny you talk about the gut, because that was something in lockdown, like, I really started to get a hold of because of all my addictions. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start going to the gym. And I'm in lockdown, because I nearly had a mental breakdown thinking he's going to come and get me. That was like Project Sam 2.0. I was like, no, I'm going to start speaking. Nothing's going to stop. Again, I had a word with the Most High, and like, my message was speak and don't hold back. Don't be scared. Tell them everything. Because before, when I was sharing my story, when he was in prison, I would never speak about the satanic ritual abuse.
Yeah.
Because I thought he would always say people would call me crazy and say that I'm a lunatic. And I'd end up where my best friend was in the house. So that was always something I stopped. But I guess everything needed to come out.
Yeah.
But that was another thing. I started to focus on gut health, because I realised that, like, your gut is your second brain.
Absolutely.
Like, so I started to, like, that's what my business started as, with the CMOS and the superfoods and stuff. And I was like, do you know what? Like, and I really now, don't get it twisted. I'll go out have a bottle of wine and, like, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm at a meal with my friends and stuff, like, do you know what I'm saying? But you won't find me now, like, days on end off my nut. You won't find me, like, around the wrong types of people. Like, I am literally just trying every single day to not be better than anyone else, just be better than who I used to be.
To be the best version of yourself and to be the person that you needed.
Yeah, I know. And also the person that my kids are going to need.
Yeah,
my kids, my future kids, honestly, they are going to be fucking weapons of mass destruction. I swear to God. Forces, mate. I know, babe. But imagine if they're going to have the childhood then as well, the safe childhood as well.
Yeah.
They are literally going to be them.
This is why you're here. This is why you're here. Not only are you using your voice to help, well, I know that there would have been thousands and thousands and thousands of views of where you've spoken before, but all the other stuff that you're doing, all the other supports that you're giving to charities, to organisations, you know, aligning with women and people like me and spreading the word. But your children are going to have the life that you deserved. And actually, I do believe, if we're going to speak about a higher power as a really nice way to bring it to a positive end, I do believe that all of us that go through any form of suffering, if we use that suffering and we pay it forward, we can create change. And I believe the world, although it's an absolutely scary, monstrous place right now, I think we're going through a transformation.
Yeah, there's a timeline transition.
There is.
I said this as well, babe. Yeah. And also as well, like, I know like you said, we can't save everyone, but like you doing the work that you've done has really helped me in my way. And it's like, I've had messages of full grown men being like, I've quit porn because of you.
Wow. And that's amazing.
For me, and also like the kids I've mentored, like, you know, and how like some of them have now gone on to, you know, making their own businesses and stuff. Like, it's like, I did have to take a break from the podcast, and I had to take a break from my activism work, just because like there was a point where I wasn't filling my own cup, and I couldn't give my whole self.
You have to, you know, you have to look after. I say this to everyone, because if you're not looking after number one first, what are you really giving?
Even give? I know exactly. Yeah. And I think I was still very triggered. I think I'm hoping this interview is going to come across with a different aspect, of a more healed aspect, because I think last time and a lot of my podcasts, I might have been all up in my feels, like, oh my God, yeah.
Well, do you know what, there were times today that you were.
I felt it, but it was, I feel like I composed myself more, and I feel like I don't know, it's from a different place now, you know.
Do you know what I saw today, and I want to kind of say this very, very clearly, what I saw today was you actually feeling for your inner child rather than being in the trauma.
Yeah.
That's what I saw today. And the sadness and the tears were for her.
Yeah.
They weren't from the place of like in it, like living it. It was, yes, there's an element of that, and we know when we tell our story that happens, but you've definitely given a lot of love to that inner child.
Yeah, I have done so much work, babe. Honestly, like in regards to my inner child healing, that is one thing I would want all survivors to do.
Yeah.
Is to go back and forgive yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's so hard, but like when you forgive yourself, and I'm not saying to forgive like your abusers in regards to forget everything, but it spirals then, because then you start to realise no one has power over you, and then you're like, do you know what, you were a cunt, like no matter what, like that was you, like whether it was me or someone else, that is always going to be who you are. I can't change that, so I'm going to make sure that I know that what you did to me will never happen to me again. And you know what I mean, like I forgive myself for allowing that to happen to me at that time, and I forgive you just because I need to let that situation go. Yeah, and it's not about forgetting either. Like I think people misconstrued that. Like
they don't like the word forgiveness. I've used it a lot, and I get called out for using the word forgive.
It's not about forgetting though, like about what's happened. Like it's not about like just dismissing it or anything. It's just so it can give you space.
It's space.
You need the space. Like, and I think when you hold on to it, I think a lot of the old me used to embody, and it was like, oh yeah, no, I'm just this and this. I am what has happened to me, and I'm like, I am so much more than that.
Oh my God, you really are.
Like, babe, and
you're
I feel
a magical woman. I can't believe, truthfully, because when we listen to these stories, it's so hard to, because you're in the timeline at the moment that you're talking about it, and then to finish up with, you know, obviously you've become a poker extraordinaire.
Yeah. Do you know what? I feel like that's karmic, because I've been in the industry that he was in, and he was, because I've actually, and you know what's the maddest thing? Yeah, so that penthouse that I lived in, basically I used to work a game, which was the house next door to that penthouse.
No way.
And it was like in the past like 3 years I started working there.
So you've gone back and changed the narrative.
And it's through a different door.
Wow, I mean, that is power.
That's when I was like, I know God's real. And I know it's just like little things like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I'm listening. I can hear you. I'm like, I get it. I get that. It's like, how many signs do you need to be like, you know, the higher power has got you.
True.
And I'm not saying that what had to happen to me happened to me, but I sometimes, when I put purpose to it, I'm like, maybe it had to happen to someone like me because I am some mouthy bitch who's not going to shut up. Like, so I'm going to be like, do you know what? That's fine. Guess what? Everything's going to come out now because I ain't going to sit in shame and be like, well, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to be like, well, guess what? Yeah, this, and this. Like, and that's, I guess, this good spin that I can put on the situation because then I can be that voice and be like, do you know what? This time because there's other people that were in that situation that will never speak.
You're right.
So for me, I'm like, do you know what? This ain't just for me. This is for them. And it had to be me because I was been this loud and ballsy since I've been in school. I've been that problem kid. Like, I mean, Mum was like, shut up. I'm like, fuck off. I will never. Honestly, all that energy, mate, as a kid, like, but I'm that one. I'll walk into a room and I'll be like, hi, I'm here. And that is when he might have thought he picked the right person, but really it's the wrong person because now this is his demise. I am his demise.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I might have had a break for a few years, but I think collectively now this has been seen by over 1 million people.
Yeah.
I've been on the BBC News. By the way, I don't agree with BBC News, bum Babylon. But at the time I needed to use that platform for what it was good for. And they were talking about human trafficking and I wanted to get people to understand about it. And I also wanted to get them to know about Diamond Dew Project so that they could know there was a lot of small grassroots organisations that were doing stuff that was survivor-led. And I think that's what's happening a lot now within the charity sector is that survivor-led information and education is getting paramount.
Yes.
Which is so important.
It's so
lived
important.
Experience.
It's lived experience. And actually, if unless you've gone through something like this, we never go through exactly what the next survivor has been through. We've all got a different story. But unless you've been there and gone to the depths of self-hatred, that kind of being gaslit, confused, thinking you're the problem, thinking you can't speak, thinking if you do speak, you're the bad one, all these things. Unless you've been there, you never get it.
Yeah, I know.
Where can they find you, Sam? Because there's going to be so many people that want to.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm on Instagram and I remember in lockdown, they started deleting my accounts, like, bloody Nora, that was crazy. That was a crazy time, they deleted my account. So, yeah, I just use the usual social media, like, you can find me through Diamond Dew Projects, One Self Wellbeing, which is the superfoods company.
Can I just say that my app that's coming out is called Self?
No.
I only saw this the other day on your stories. I was like, oh my God.
No, I love that though, babe. That's so like, I mean, with me, it's more like with the One Self, it was like about putting oneself first. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
the
it was
idea
about
is
that.
Going back to self, where you've lost yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, I've been like quite quiet recently, just like kind of like been focused on my family and making sure I'm getting ready for this bloody cashless society that's coming.
Yeah, which is another scary thing.
I know that's another podcast for another day because I want people to realise about like what's coming, and I don't think you should be worried about anything race related. I think you should be more worried about AI and the cashless society that's coming because the things are about to switch up hard basically. So yeah, I've kept myself to myself recently, but I do want to get myself back out there again. And yeah, I'm on all of the usual platforms, babe, like Instagram, Facebook. And
we'll tag you in all of them so people can find
if they want to find me, they're more than welcome. But I just want to say, like, anyone who's took the time to watch this, thank you. Because it means a lot, because I know like it can be really hard to listen to podcasts like this. So I just want to thank all of you listeners, and I want to thank you for helping me to be able to get back on the horse, so to speak. Like, giddy up.
I mean, honestly, I loved you before, and like I genuinely did. I just thought this girl has got something so powerful, and like I said, I left it because I saw you were taking a break.
Yeah, I had to, babe.
I know, and I didn't want to intrude in that time because I could see that what you were doing. I could see it had been tough before, but I reached out because I just felt like you've got so much to offer so much power in the right way, and so much magic in the right way. And I just felt like this is a time where we can have these conversations again safely,
and we need them. I think when you said about like when we can face facts of the influence that is out there, let's change that rhetoric and get some actual like people out there like that care about humanity, care about society, don't just care about their ego and their pocket, and they're not leading people astray. Like everything we talk about is very raw, it's very real, and all we want is for the consciousness of society to improve, man,
so that we can save a lot of people.
Yeah, and also save the children, man. Yeah, that's another thing. Like the whole thing, I was getting mad with social media because when I was hashtagging Save Our Children, I was getting shadow banned, and then they were blocking the hashtag Save Our Children. So that was just, it was just, everything was like really getting on top of me, and I was just like, do you know what? I'm just going to take a break. I'm just going to recalibrate. I'm going to focus on my gym, on my money and my mind, and now I'm going to come back, and I'm going to come back bigger and better than ever. But some crazy times ahead, guys. But that's why it's about getting our mind and body and self right. And hopefully this can open people's eyes to a world that they might not have known about.
Absolutely.
That does exist, and it could be your next door neighbour, mate, because Steve, Dan, Cooper, whatever.
It's definitely.
He's literally on an estate in Birmingham.
They are someone's next door neighbour. This is
he's walking the streets now, babe. Like, what now?
So scary. So I'm going to finish by saying, please, 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 please follow Sam. I know you may dip in and out of social media at times, but you're so on the button when it comes to what's going on currently.
Trying my best.
You are, and you're not afraid to say it.
I know, that's the thing. I don't want anyone, man or female, to ever think their voice doesn't matter. Like, because we've got enough idiots spitting dribble now. Like, we might as well all come here and have our voice heard as well. And I think especially survivors' voices matter, because for you to go through something and not end up like your perpetrator, that's so powerful.
It's so powerful. Oh my God.
Breaking the cycle.
It is breaking the cycle, and that is what you're doing. That's hopefully what we're doing together today. Yeah. And I am so thankful for you coming all this way.
I'm so grateful.
Let's have a hug.
Yeah.
You did so amazing. I know, everyone falls off that chair.